Sam, we need an intro for the Weekender, and since it's 11:30, Justin's clearly still in bed, so you need to do it.
I wasn't in it. I don't know what the prize was or anything.
A Breachstorm Two-Player Starter Set.
I still wasn't in it.
Well, you need to do the intro! Do it!
Jerry, you were in it. You do it. You do it.
Hey folks, welcome to the Weekender. In this episode you can win a Breachstorm Two-Player Starter Set and listen to Justin discuss Mythic Games at great length.
What? Guess who's back? Happy weekend!
Hi, Warren.
Welcome to the Weekender. I am joined this morning by the beautiful Ben, the incredible Jerry,
Hola.
and my mate Justin.
Hello.
And we're here to entertain you and bring you up to speed on a great week of gaming. But I have some announcements to make first.
Ooh.
Okay?
We like announcements.
First thing is, next weekend, I'm sorry, but there'll be no Weekender. Because our buddy Lance is getting married.
Are we giving him a doing?
We are so gonna do him, Justin. Me and you together.
No.
Oh, sorry.
A
Right.
doing. No, is he getting a doing?
We should probably give him a doing. We have a tradition here in Ireland.
Yeah.
When somebody's getting married, we give them a doing.
Yeah.
And a doing normally, well, certainly where I came from now, it was pretty rough.
Oh, yeah.
So in the little middle part of Northern Ireland called Mid-Ulster, what they do is they would tie you to a trailer.
Yep.
Okay.
Tow you around the estates.
And you would be driven around the town and pelted with flour and tomato ketchup,
Honey.
and everything. And then they would maybe take you up to the middle of the town and then strap you to the lamppost in the middle of the town, and they would leave you there while they all go and get pints. And then they would stand drinking their pints, just to wet their whistles while you're there, saying, "Can I have one of those pints?" And then they'd maybe, if you were lucky, you might get a little bit of pint.
Yeah.
Then they put you back in the trailer again, and they drive you out the road, and they would leave you out the road to make your way back.
Oh, no, my brother's a card. He hid for 3 weeks before his wedding
Oh, no,
to
that's
avoid
tragic.
it.
And did you get him?
No, we didn't.
He got away with it.
He got
very
away with
few,
it.
very few
Oh, yeah,
get
yeah,
away
yeah.
with it.
Because
So
generally you're sitting in the house and you just hear the car horns going beep, 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 and just like 5 or 6 or 7 cars. And that's how you know that there's one up front and then it's just like a chain of them behind, all blaring their horns. Gives you a chance to go and get the eggs out of the cupboard and go to the front door.
Yes. Now, the beauty of this is, guys, this very episode that you're watching is currently being edited by Lance. So if that strange smell that you can smell right now, that's fear. That's fear right there. So is he getting a doing? We'll have to wait and see, Lance. We'll have to wait and see. But our buddy Lance is getting married, and we're all feeling a wee bit emotional about the whole thing.
Yeah.
He found a wonderful lass at my wedding.
Really?
Yeah.
Your wedding they met?
One of their first dates was at my wedding.
Huh.
Because he came up to me just before the wedding. He said, "Look, I've met a girl. Can I bring her to the wedding?" And I said, "What, you expect me to pay for her?" And he says, "She's not very big. She doesn't eat much." I said, "No, that's no problem, man. You bring her along." So I met his who's turned out to be his future wife at my wedding. And it was lovely, because he was there and they were still very shy with one another and stuff. And who would have thought back then?
All try and hold their farts in.
That's it. Yes, until they can do it no longer, and then you scare your future wife to be. Andrea jumped about 6 feet whenever I let a true rattle.
Is that not the first test of a relationship, if you can withstand the wind?
Well, it was a true test of her body frame to see could she withstand the wind. She survived, and I said, "You'll do." So, we're all feeling a bit emotional.
You see, my stepdad's never done. He complains about my mum.
Yes.
So it's the other way around in that relationship.
It can happen.
Yeah, apparently he
It
wakes
can
up in the
happen.
morning and feels like he's getting blown out of bed.
An interesting piece of trivia for you, because I know you love all this stuff, but Sandy Totsvig
Yes.
from QI, some of us will remember from number 73. Good there, man! Our generation. But Sandy Totsvig, her claim to fame is she has never farted in her life. She has never farted.
Absolute.
She needs to come over and eat with us.
It'll scare it out of you.
So yeah, so it can happen. It's a strange thing. And here we are talking about Lance's wedding, and it deviates into farts.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Lance, I hope you're enjoying this episode, man, as much as we are.
I hope it's prepared for us to meet his friends and family.
So yeah, apologies. There will be no Weekender next weekend because we are all having a party. We're going to Lance's wedding, and we're going to have a proper knees up, a proper shindig, let our hair down, and celebrate one of the most momentous moments because it's welcoming Nuala into the Beasts of War family. Well, the OnTableTop family, and she'll be one of us.
Gibble, gobble, gibble, gobble,
Yeah.
one of us.
So yeah, Lance is getting married. Right. This is now also the official kickoff for the preparation for the Flames of War D-Day boot camp.
Dun, dun, dun.
Work is now underway. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because I am excited. I snagged 2 tickets. I didn't say, but I snagged 2 tickets.
For who?
Say nothing that casual.
For me and Jerry.
That's mean.
You guys are all going to be working really hard.
You'll enjoy
All right,
it.
I tell you what, you're doing that. I'm calling dibs for the next one.
Well, me and Jerry have 2 tickets.
Yeah. Good times.
The reason being, whenever this came up, I got really excited because this is Flames of War going back into my favorite era of their war, which is the late war.
Yep.
And I like the late war primarily because that's when all the big stuff comes out, all the big tanks, everything it starts to come back into play, and it's the war that I.
It's what most people visualize.
Yes.
It's, every film
Yeah.
is generally about the late war period.
Yeah, but it's the time period is whenever war starts to look like modern day war.
Yeah.
Tanks start to look like tanks. The soldiers start to look really starting to get closer and closer to modern day soldiers.
And the other reason why I was desperate to try and see if I could snag me and Jerry onto it was Jerry is actually my second date. Apologies, Jerry.
Oh,
You weren't my first choice.
I'm never anyone's first choice. Don't worry, I'm used to that by now.
But I had reached out to me Dr. Dave.
Ah, yes.
But Dr. Dave has a baby on the way!
Really?
He totally does!
Congrats, buddy.
So Dr. Dave can't make it because he's got a baby on the way. And his better half is very much about to give birth in and around that period.
Oh.
Now, I did say to him, we could do parachutes or something like that, man. We could find a way. If you could convince her that it's going to be fine. We could sneak you in and get you in and stuff like that. But Dr. Dave, he's a doctor and he knows how the goes down. So he said, best not.
Yeah.
So Dr. Dave couldn't make it. So I thought to myself, I'll get the hairy giant.
Yeah. Who else is tall? Who else is tall and likes tiny men?
So me and the hairy giant,
all right.
we're going to go for it. Now, what this means, I first off have to start by saying that I owe a massive debt of gratitude to Flames of War. Because Flames of War was a turning point for me in the hobby like no other, okay? Before the whole experience with Dr. Dave and getting in to Flames of War, I was not only anti-historical at the time, but I was also 28 mil.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, a soldier has to be yay high, and it was looking at it, I looked at them all, I thought, it's going to be really hard to paint. It's I don't know if I understand. Everything's so small, it all looks really fiddly.
Yeah.
But whenever I got into Flames of War, what it opened for me personally and from a hobby, it was irreplaceable, and it's like, and a huge thanks goes out to the designers behind Flames of War and the guys behind the company, because they were all really supportive actually in those early days. So the likes of Phil and Peter Siminovich and John Paul Brizzigotti and Gareth Richards and Gordon, over in the Flames of War UK.
Matt Sully.
Matt Sully, yeah. I was able to just explore this whole 15 million and totally fell in love with it. You know, and it's a scale now that I absolutely adore because it opens up such a different battlefield for you.
Yeah.
You know, it just the nature of the game is just so much more difficult. And obviously, are we going to be talking a little bit about Joan of Arc?
We will
later in the show, yeah.
Yeah. We've got the guys from Mythic in, and we've actually got a huge info dump from those guys for this episode. So stay tuned for that.
This is partly why whenever Joan of Arc came along and the guys were taking it into 15 mil, I was like, I'm all over that like a rash because as a scale goes, it's just wonderful. But the crowning moment for me was the GT, was going along to the GT and meeting the players, because I've got to say no other gaming community has been more welcoming or more supportive to me coming in as a noob, as someone who has some crazy ideas of how he was going to tackle this, and I'll talk about them in a minute, than the Flames of War community. And what I've been treated so well by that community, and they're a community of passionate players, and I think that they've always stood out for me as the prime example of what a gaming community should be. You know, and I'm talking about people like there was like at the GT there was folks like Tim Harris. Tim walked me through the game because I was still trying to learn the rules and stuff like that there, and he let me play my way, and it was fascinating, and I really enjoyed it, and every other player was so accommodating at that. And then over the years I then got to meet some of the standout people in that community, like the GT winners, the likes of Steve and Wild Bill, Roger, Robin, Manny, Hammy, Michael, Peter. These are people that I've interviewed. We'll get a link to the Flames of War for the Win.
Yeah, so this is the original Flames of War for the Win series. Currently, if you're looking for tactical tips, quite good. If you're looking for rule stuff, it's out of date. Yes,
but the tactical tips never really go out of date, because a lot of that tactical stuff, like use of smoke and stuff that for someone who's coming out of their kind of more sci-fi gaming kind of stuff would think, smoke, that's boring. I want to put down firepower. But these games, the way they're modeled, its use of the suppression of smoke and stuff like that, it's so much more interesting, really, when you start to get into it, than it is about firing bucket loads of plasma. If it's so worth getting into, and that community was so supportive.
It was like a watershed moment.
It was incredible, and my hobby life has never been the same since. So whenever I approached Flames of War, I knew nothing about the Second World War and history. Didn't particularly appeal to me. I'm now an expert, as everybody knows.
Historical fact.
And that's historical fact. But the way I approach this, and I just want to chat about it because it's been a while since we've talked about it. I use an approach that I've coined gaming in the gaps. Okay? So gaming in the gaps for me is whenever I approach a game, most games have background or pre-written history. Okay? And whenever you approach a game, you can try and stay within the background. So in 40K, that would be your various chapters and the likes. Or in some of these historical games, that's the historical. This is historically how this particular armored group constructed itself, and here's its commanders, and here's who was in it. I've always liked to game in the gaps because I feel comfortable finding my own way. I feel comfortable building armies and things around I make up. Because it gives me the ability to push back just a little and say, yes, I know you know all this stuff, but these guys do it this way.
It's easier to get into that than to go, I'm playing the 21st Panzer Division, and then somebody goes, but they didn't have that. You shouldn't have 3 of those. Or, so being able to just go, it's this. It's this little compartmentalized bit. It's an easier stepping stone.
Yeah,
and this is why I want to re-explore this with you, because many of you out there maybe look at the density of the historical games and think to yourself, yeah, but I don't know enough about it to know where to start. And that's where I was. And you know what? That's probably where I will always be, because although I am cited now as one of the industry's leading historical experts,
Fact.
there's still a lot of shit I don't know. So I decided whenever I was entering Flames of War that I was going to create this crazy German unit called the Nachtwolf, the Night Wolves.
I still laugh at that.
And I wanted to make it really pulpy. I fell in love with the Stug, which I always called a tank, but it's not a tank.
That's it.
It's an anti-tank gun. So this is my love of my life, the Stug. In fact, I fell in love with the Stug so much, I built an entire army around the Stugs.
Yeah.
So the Nachtwolf, I believe, had something like 20-something Stugs in their list. It was just a Stug list.
I think it was pretty much tournament legal, though.
Yes, it was. Yeah. When I went to the GT, I actually was able to get some help from the guys at Battlefront. They helped me understand how to put together a tournament legal Stug list. Yeah,
using a Stug company.
And if you pass me some of those, my Stugs actually got even better than that, because I was able to field some of the Stugs with tank riders. Now, tank riders, I had never heard of tank riders before, but tank riders are absolutely insane. Either insane or insanely brave. I haven't worked it out yet. Dudes that sat on top of tanks, and whenever you got to the enemy, they jumped off and assaulted them.
And we're very keen on it, because it saved them having to build trucks. Oh, they could just hang off another T-34.
Yeah.
It's just crazy
I have seen
stuff.
memes where it's just like American additional armor, logs, German additional armor, it shirts in, Russian additional armor, tank riders.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I had German tank riders.
Yeah.
I even come up with my own little symbol, okay, which you can see there, the wolf head for the Nachtwolf that I put onto the... It's just shirts in here, isn't it? On the Stug. So...
Yeah, although Warren, I'm not sure if you ever found this out, but I did, around the time of Flames of War for the Win, or slightly after it, speak to one of our German viewers. Nachtwolf does not mean night wolf.
What does it mean?
You're saying naked wolf.
Oh, well, that works for me. So naked wolf, the naked wolf army, in many respects, appeals to me even more now than it did then.
Why would it not?
So I built this army, and I then decided I was going to take it even further. So instead of the aircraft, I did have actual attack aircraft for it. This is Stuka with a big ass cannon on it. But I actually swapped that out for a flying saucer that I crafted myself for some bits that I found in the Poundland. Now the flying saucer went on an abduction mission somewhere. And is currently abducting cows and conducting
that's for backstage.
Animal mutilations somewhere in around the studio here. So he hasn't turned up. But I did manage to find the bits and pieces of my other stuff. Now,
some of it's a little battered.
Oh, it's battered, and I'll tell you a good story of why it's battered. So this is the remains of one of my 88s, which I had in the list as well. Any seasoned Flames of War players going, oh, he had 88s in the list. Oh, cheesy git. The 88s actually were probably one of the best things I had in the list. I hadn't realized at the time. I thought it was all about the Stugs, but the 88s is kind of where it was. So whenever I got those bad boys deployed, I suddenly noticed that my opponents were staying out of the way, and I was wondering, why? So now when I'm playing, I think to myself, where do I not want to go, or where do I want to contain them? And I'll use my 88s to try and force them to go to a particular area.
Quick question, Warren. For the boot camp, which side are you two going for?
Oh, I'm going German.
Jerry?
That's an interesting question. I do like my Germans.
But he's going American.
But US Airborne.
It is Airborne. So, yeah, very cool. I haven't actually...
First, 82nd?
I don't know yet.
I haven't fully decided.
Yeah.
We're gonna. The thing is, we get both because we get a big ass box of stuff.
Yeah, the Hit the Beach set.
Yeah, so we're getting both. It's and there's other goodies and stuff like that there. So we will decide when we're there. You will decide when they're there. But what we've been running the Spring Clean Challenge. Where we've basically put a challenge out to the community to say, look, you're bound to have an old project that's either sat, maybe you considered it finished at the time, or maybe it's unfinished, or maybe it's just a project that you think, do you know what? I think I can do better on that. I've been taken into some basing and putting together some fantasy armies because we're having a go with Warlord's new generic. Well, I don't want to call it a generic fantasy game. Yeah. It's not a generic fantasy game. That misrepresents what
Would it be
is.
an open range fantasy game?
Open fantasy game.
And miniatures agnostic.
It's a miniatures agnostic fantasy game, and Saga's new miniatures agnostic fantasy game. So if you can check out, I've actually listed projects in our project system over on the site, but if you're a backstager, you'll hear us waxing lyrical about it, and I'm going to talk a bit about it tomorrow as well, because I have my next army underway that I want to talk about. But as part of the Spring Clean, and I know that we're now going to be really busy constructing some amazing tables.
Yeah, I am hip deep
for the boot
in
camp.
the 3D printers again.
Yeah, we're exploring. We have a load of stuff in Battlefront stuff, but we're also exploring with some 3D printing, producing some scenery and stuff of our own, and just creating some amazing tabletop experiences for the boot camp. But one of the other things I want to do is I am really considering now coming back to the Nactwolf. Yeah, I'm bringing back all my kind of experience and stuff since then. And having another look at this army and resurrecting it again as a little bit of a tribute to as I've said, the finest gaming community that I have ever met and the most supportive gaming community. Because when you have some idiot coming in to your community and turning up at your GT with flying saucers and silver stugs come flying out of his arse and you embrace him, and you help him, and you give him the best games that he's ever played at that time of his life. Anyway, all I can say is, you're rock stars. You really are rock stars, and thank you so much, because you individuals in that community, as I've said, made a huge impact on my life and made a real difference. And I'm hoping that from this boot camp, that not only do I get to relive a little bit of that and explore these new rules that Phil and stuff have put together, that have, in some respects, made it a little more clear for newbies like me. So it's a little less dense in some respects than it was before, because there's a lot of density in the Flames of War 3rd edition, and it's great for those amazing players. I completely understand that, but for some of the rest of us, it's a lot of density to work through. I'm interested to see how the 4th edition rules work out for the late war stuff, but I'm also interested to see if we can recapture some of that and show you guys just what a great game this actually is, and why it's so deserving, and why 15 mil is such an interesting scale to be playing at. And if you want a taster of what this might be like, Ben, maybe you can get this into the post. Go and check out the Team Yankee boot camp.
It was a lot of fun.
It was extraordinary. And I've got high hopes for this one. I'm really, really looking forward to this. So yeah, I might take a break from the fantasy armies when I'm finished this next one. I've finished one. I'm about to finish another one.
Which will get you the 2 you need for gaming anyway.
Yeah, I might take a break and nip out of that and spring clean the Nactwolf. Yeah. The Naked Wolves, Justin.
Yes.
And I'm going to recreate the Flying Saucer, and I have a couple of other ideas.
Whenever I hear the name now, I'm just imagining Warren with a set of barber shears just behind a wall. Zzz.
Oh man, it's like I think I'm going to resurrect this list, because there's a lot more that I can do now that I couldn't do at the time.
Like repaint the whole army.
I don't think I'm going to repaint the whole army. I am going to take a paintbrush to it, and I am going to rebase it, because the reason that so much of it is broken is because, again, that community. I had moved it onto my tray between one table and the other, and anybody who's ever been a long-time viewer of Beasts of War and on tabletop knows
you drop models.
I drop models. I am a clumsy dude. I dropped my entire army.
Harsh.
I dropped the whole thing.
The whole German army.
The whole German army. And all my little trucks all smashed. You can see there.
Oh, yeah.
So here, I'll just show you. Yeah, so and I tried to glue it all back together. And it was really, really heartbreaking at the time. And you know what? They were so supportive. We had a bit of a chuckle about it, but people were helping me pick it up. People were helping me put it back together, and they were helping me get army ready again as quickly as possible, so I could compete in the next round. You know, that's
what you want to see.
You know, I've been to tournaments as a kind of like an external punter watching it, and I've just seen people just argue and fight with each other the whole way through the tournament. In this tournament, I dropped an entire army, and folk that I had never ever met were coming up and pat me on the back and saying, "Look, let's help you get this back together." So I have a lot of damage and stuff that I need to repair, but I love this little army, and I can't wait to have a crack at it. In other news,
yes,
while we're on the topic of Stugs, I know you guys have probably mentioned it in at least one weekender, but it has to be mentioned again. Dreamforge,
the Gravstug
are doing a Gravstug.
Yeah, we were looking at it last weekend on the show. It looks absolutely fantastic.
No, I have been resisting.
Why? Why would you resist?
I have been resisting because
resistance is futile.
I've been thinking. I've been wondering where to put it, because my first thought was, I could totally do something 40k with that Gravstug.
Yep.
And
mine will be being shoehorned in wherever I can. So,
how many do you have coming?
Hopefully 4, assuming gets funded.
I am not surprised.
But they'll either go into my Imperial Guard army.
I was thinking the same.
Or they can just be used in my Conflict 47 with my bolt action.
Yeah.
So multi-power. Really, I'm saving money by getting them because it's covering multiple systems.
Well, yeah. I was wondering though, if you were going to pull them into 40k, the obvious thing is guard.
Yeah.
Okay. The obvious thing is guard. I was wondering, is there any less obvious things that you know? Could you pull it into a Space Marine?
Yeah. You could use it as a demolisher in a Space Marine army.
Well, no, it's not a demolisher. It's
why not? It's got one big gun on the front.
Yeah, but that's not the name of it. It would be the demolisher cannon.
But
it's
on cannon. It's on the Vindicator.
Vindicator.
On the Vindicator. So use them as Vindicators then.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you could have 3 in an army. Although the Vindicators aren't that great in 40k anymore.
Who cares?
I'd create a new vehicle for it.
Yeah.
And I would have tank riders.
Yeah.
I would use it as a transport.
Cover it in Marines.
I would love. Wouldn't that be amazing though? If you could come up with a new Marine chapter, right? So forget anything you know currently about Marines. This is Gaming in the Gaps right now, live, right here. If you can get involved in the comments, that would be much appreciated. So I'm thinking a Marine chapter, okay?
So new founding, old school Marines or Primaris?
I would go old school.
I might go Primaris, Jerry, primarily because you could then come at it from the perspective of this is another one of Gulliman's inventions.
Call's inventions.
You know, this is
Fabius Bile. Give him his real name.
That this is something that has come down with. Is it the new founding? Is it? It's called.
Well, it's. Yeah, I mean, like Call was making them for the last 10,000 years. So some of the Primaris Marines now are actually from Heresy era.
Have we had any updates to the Space Marine Scouts models recently?
Yeah, you've got the Eliminators is the new sort of Primaris variant.
Yeah, so we have a Primaris variant. Yeah. Right. So what? Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say the way that I'd actually take the Stug is taking it in sort of a similar fashion to what you're thinking about with Imperial Guardsmen or Adeptus, whatever they're called, Astra Militarum now, that's it.
Starmie.
And instead use them in like a Tau force and do some alien stuff to them, because they have, the Tau have always had their like humans that they've conquered and now work for them. I think it's Guevesa, I think they're called. So you could always do something with them. And
they're
have
all
the Tau
part
in
of the
there
Great
in some way.
Collective. It's
So-
great. They're all fans.
You know, it just happens that they chemically
Yeah.
neuter the population.
Yeah, that's Imperial propaganda. Don't listen to that. They're all perfectly happy in the Tower Empire. So yeah, so use it as like a devilfish variant.
Yeah, do it like that or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
interesting.
That could be done.
Well, what I've been
Adeptus Mechanicus could use it as well.
no too.
I don't know, but it's them that would be making it.
Yeah, but I want what I'm after is I'm after Space Marine Scouts as tank riders.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a forward insertion
yeah,
force,
like a recon.
Yeah, and theme the entire army around the Gravstugs and these Space Marine
Well, I mean,
Scouts.
if you give it the deep strike rule, would be quite awesome then, because then imagine it just being launched from a spaceship as landing armor support for the guys instead of having.
So
to
what I
land
would
it
do
up
is I
on
would
the rock.
actually limit the army. So if we did a custom dex or a custom army list around this, I would severely limit what they could take. Okay, so it would play as
Maybe
a
just do pure
forward
Vanguard.
and a forward insertion force. So so there'd be a lot of the stuff that wouldn't be there. A lot of the heavier stuff wouldn't be there. So there'd be a lot of limitations on the list. But I would give them some very interesting rules. In that you could deep strike and then assault off.
Yeah.
The thing, you know.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
that's very cheesy. Not a lot of stuff does that.
Actually,
but
no. These days you can deep strike and assault.
Can you?
Yeah, it's in the new rules.
Then this could
But
work.
What you probably want to do is take the Vanguard Primaris from Shadowspear,
Mm-hmm.
because they're all about tactical insertion. You know, working behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
So pretty much all of their stuff has the ability to deep strike in. So you've got the infiltrators as the mainline troops.
Yeah.
They also have a bubble on them that doesn't let people deploy or deep strike close to them, so they have to do 12 inches, which is outside of charge. You've got the eliminators, who are great snipers. You've then got the suppressors, who are drop troops who have got the big autocannons on them that actually stop opponents from overwatching. You've got the Phobos lieutenant, who can deep strike and actually drop in and give some support where it's needed. You've got the librarian, you've got the captain, and I think that's pretty much it. They don't have any vehicles, so this would be adding a vehicle to that force.
Yeah, but it might be overkill. It might need to draw it back again, and this is why I was thinking of the scouts.
Yeah.
You know, the scouts
Just
as
have the
tank
lightly
riders
armored
on it.
people
Because what I
being
want,
deployed off it.
I want 4 of these things,
Right.
maybe 5, right? With the scout riders on it, and I want to go for a white color scheme.
Right.
Okay, because I just think, you know, I'm always used to seeing the Stugs and stuff like that in the kind of the dark gritty colors. Wouldn't it be a real juxtaposition, I think is the word I'm looking for, where you have this army
Super bright,
super
shiny.
bright and white, and then just flashing in.
So some kind of phantom force for the Jap.
Well, not phantom, just bling, but not bling the way the custodies and stuff are.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be much more utilitarian, but their underlying color would be white. I think a Stug, you know, especially like if it's airbrushed, highly zenithed into the white.
See, you could
I think it
nearly
would
make
look
this
amazing.
something like Belisarius Call's research team that's going out to steal technology from other folks to bring it back to him.
Fabius
So he can make
Biles.
Fabius
Fabius Biles.
Yeah. If you're gonna go that way. But no, you get what I mean. It could be a reclaim team from him going out to grab stuff to bring it back to his manufactoria.
Yeah.
Could work quite
Anyway,
well for the storyline.
please, if any of you 40k experts, of which we know there are millions out there, would like to help me come up with a thing for the Grav Stug, obviously we're going to have to wait till the thing gets made. Come on, Dreamforge, you can do it.
Stay on target.
We I would love to work out a highly contained list that is. It might be a little bit one-hit wonder, but that's okay. I want it to be really interesting in how it plays, but I want it to be really contained, so it's not one of these things where you're just chucking in Gravstugs. I want it built around the whole idea of these things being first on the scene, fast-moving, because there's no speed limitation to the likes of a Gravstug. You know, so fast-moving with the tank riders on it, going in cowboy style, be amazing. There we go.
You've sold me.
This is what I want.
And
So
it already sold you. You've
Well,
bought 4.
yeah.
right. In other news, the Shadowborne Riddle, Ben. We have an update.
Yeah, so this is just letting people know that the riddle that we mentioned last week, we've got until May the 11th for you to try and work it out and send over your sort of your ideas as to what the answer to the 9-letter anagram might be over to Shadowborn-games.com. There'll be a proper link in the show notes and everything like that. But yeah, make sure you get your answers in for that one, and you could be in the chance of winning a prize from the guys at Shadowborn Game concerning their new game that they've been working
So
on.
find the 9-letter anagram in the tombstone.
In the riddle, yes.
Input the answer at shadowborn-games.com to find illumination. The marks of time will show the way. Where the sword and sorcery meet, on field where long-lost warriors' feet trod to thaw the ice with blood of beasts of bone and flesh and mud, the head of the cardinal points to find the end of that most ancient sign. And from the beginning you must know to fear the sight of that cursed. Oh.
Nice. Well read.
Yeah.
It was like Jack and Nori. It was
It absolutely
far
was.
better than me last week. Compared to
Right,
that.
so you have at it, guys. We have until the 11th of May to try and work that one out. If anybody has worked it out, PM me. I want to know. I want to know what it is because I'm utterly stumped. Finally, I have an interesting one for you. We have resurrected the Backstage Deals. Okay, so we used to do this thing, Backstage Deals, a couple of years back. Then we got busy on the new platform with the OnTableTop and stuff, and we were really busting our balls to build all of that. So we've been busy on that. However, we have started to resurrect them again. You may not know this, but if you go to store.ontabletop.com, the Visitors Center has an online store. Where the guys have been building a pick and packing operation and actually now sell online.
Now, one key thing.
Yes?
Currently, it's UK and Europe.
Yes. Wait.
Currently.
I'll give you some background into all of this, okay? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a pick and pack operation to make it easy for us to ship stuff out. So as to make it easier for us to ship out some cool merchandise, but also to do some cool projects with you guys where we could all collectively paint a mini or do something like a random box of goodies kind of things where we send them out to you guys. So over the years we've always felt really constrained by the fact that everything that we can do with our community has been just digital. And that's fun if you're into something like video games and stuff like that, because it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. But whenever your thing is little touchy-feely toy soldiers, it always left us feeling a little bit detached, yeah. Unfulfilled. Like we couldn't reach out and touch you the way we wanted to.
Warren?
Yeah. So we so the way we kind of worked around this is we solved a lot of issues all at the same time. It became easier for us to do stuff with Games Workshop when we just worked with their trade, believe it or not. So we did that. We opened the Visitor Center, which has allowed us to create a local gaming community, of which we now have 60 members in our the gaming group. So we are making headway in the local community, and we are starting to draw them out, and that includes a load of new players who had never played before and now are beating him. Yes. It makes me so proud, Justin. You're developing the next generation, man. I'm very proud of you.
We need Staff 2.0. We can't work at this forever.
Now, this next phase then allows us to build this pick and pack operation, because it means that if we can continue to keep a busy online presence, that pays for having all of that picking and packing, and then it allows us to do more interesting things with all of you guys and with our backstagers, or cogs, as we're discussing with them in the background. Chat more about that tomorrow. But anyway, Backstage Deals. We had done Backstage Deals in the past, but this way we can also get involved in the Backstage Deals, and it means that we can get you some cool deals on Games Workshop stuff. So we are currently, for our Backstagers, until Sunday night or Monday, running 25% off all 40k and Age of Sigmar. So on the store, it's a base 20% anyway off the RRP. So the recommended retail price. So this is all off the RRP. However, if you're a Backstager, you can log in and get your code, and then that code will bump that discount up in the cart to 25% off. So 25% off all 40k and all Age of Sigmar. There's a few areas that it doesn't apply to, like direct only, but the direct only is only for click and collect here anyway.
I assume it doesn't apply to the specialist games either?
No, it doesn't apply to specialist games. We've got lots of things coming for you guys, but if you're fancy picking up some, it includes all the new pre-orders and stuff though, so if you fancy picking up some cool 40k goodness, and we have shipping and all ironed out, so it's to the UK, free shipping in the UK over 40 quid, free shipping to the rest of Europe over 80 quid. Other than that, the shipping rates are at cost, so have at it, guys. If you're a Backstager, I would imagine you will have no problem recouping your £3.79 a month now, guys. So it's it's good, it's fun, and thank you to all of the Backstagers who have placed an order so far. It really is helping. It helps us develop a whole new aspect to the community that we're itching to get at. And if we're just building up to a few orders a day. We've got a great stock, and everything is running smoothly so far. So far, so good. So if you've ever decided to join Backstage, now's a good time, because it'll effectively just pay for itself. If you like your 40k and your Age of Sigmar stuff, it's worth a punt. And believe me, you will love my favorite show, The Weekender XLBS, every Sunday. It is absolutely, without doubt, the most favoritist thing we ever do, and
certainly the funniest.
I am absolutely in love with the community and everything we have around that show. That show just makes me giddy inside. Right, let's talk a little bit about the news, because otherwise this is going to be one very, very long weekender. Well, see, now I'm in it.
Tangents
Ben,
everywhere.
Tell me what's going on, man.
So the first bit of news is for somebody that might want to get stuck into Age of Sigmar, maybe with that deal, for example. And this is that there's going to be a new starter set on the way coming this weekend for pre-orders and then released next weekend, called Loon Curse. And Loon Curse is setting up a battle between the Gloomspike Gits, so your goblins, and the Sylvaneth, so the forces of nature. It's kind of telling the story of a battle that takes place in the realm of metal in a region called Ayada, which is being invaded by the Gloomspike Gits, and obviously the Sylvaneth are fighting back against them. Included in the set, you get a whole bunch of cool stuff for both the different factions. You get 2 new leader figures as well, so you've got the Arch Revenant for the Sylvaneth, presented there in all his Oberonic form, as you can see there. And you also have the Loon Boss on the giant cave screw as well.
Yeah.
The set also comes with a narrative campagn for you to play through, as well as kickstart rules and all of the tokens and stuff as well that you need. So,
Shrooms.
Go back to that. Go back to... Hang a second there. What is this?
Where is that shroom going?
Where is that shroom going?
It's foot.
Is it?
It's foot.
All right, okay.
Come on.
Come on, man.
Seriously, I mean,
They made that model for me.
you just sit at dinner and Andrea serves you mushrooms and you start giggling going,
I
hee.
love the mushrooms. Look at the head on that one.
I love the little moon at the bottom here, though. That's super cute.
It's a spider.
Where is seriously? Where is
that a spider?
Yeah. Look,
Oh god, you know
it's
the
got spider legs. This
Okay,
is
that's cute as
amazing.
hell.
This is amazing. Where is that shroom actually going into
It's
a
its
foot?
foot.
Is it a foot? Are you sure? This is where we need the 3D version of it to check it out.
if it's not a foot, it's a good 11 inches.
Oh, right, Ben. I was looking at this, okay, and I'm in 2 minds, okay. As many of you will know in the Backstagers, I'm as part of my approach into Magic Saga, I want to create myself a tree man army. Because if I'm going to get back into painting, I've just been doing basing, but if I'm going to get back into painting, I need something really easy to paint. So I've been thinking tree men's. Tree men's will be easy to paint. So whenever this box set came out, I thought to myself, oh, this is an option.
Yep.
However, when I looked at it, I love the goblin side. I think the goblin side is absolutely fabulous.
Oh, red, black, green, you're done.
Well, it's that and them all on squigs. It's just like it's a whole squig army, man. It's like squig cavalry. It's amazing. I love it. The tree man army part of it,
I quite like it.
it's all right. It's starting to get a bit
Tree.
samey. Well, I don't know whether it's the fact that it's samey. Like, bring up the main character.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know whether it's the fact that it's samey or the fact that it doesn't look tree man enough to me. You know, with the wings, and it's more like
more
armor than tree. No, I understand. You know, to be fair, Games Workshop, you're not creating a tree army for me. I know that. I completely understand that. This is more of a force of nature kind of a thing.
Yeah,
But
there is. I was going to say there is also there is still the original dryads that you would have seen in the old Wood Elf style armies, and there's tree men and there's the Kernoth hunters as well, which you do get 3 of in the box as well. So there are still the fully tree based creatures if you wanted to use those.
I don't like the color scheme. I'm being a moany get here now, but I don't like the color scheme either.
Kind of stealing my thunder.
Yeah. Were you going to have a crack at the? Oh no, I'm being. Yeah. I don't like the blue wings. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I like the ethereal look to these.
I don't think that's what they're going for.
I don't know what they're going for. I don't like it.
It's like they were trying to do, translucent bug wings.
Yeah.
But then the bug wings themselves look like they're stuck because the body is all brown. You've got the ethereal bits, and then they've gone, here's a big blue shiny beetle wings stuck to it.
Yeah.
It's like a...
Now, as always, the paint scheme is flawless. It's a beautiful paint scheme, but I hate the color scheme. There's something... Now, again, I'm free to paint whatever the hell I want, and so I do understand that. But I look at this model, and I struggle to think of how to paint it, because the wings stuck onto a tree man... It seems odd to me.
Would you rather have foliage wings or something?
I wouldn't bother with wings if he's an elemental floaty thing.
Yeah, I don't know why he needed wings in the first place.
Maybe they're an optional piece. You can leave them off.
Yeah,
just green stuff in the point where it would have went.
Maybe if I was going to paint them, if you painted them like would it look weird? Wooden wings?
I would do timber for the actual veins, right?
Right.
But the actual panels, I would kind of do more of maybe a stained glass look or something. Actually, just paint it a few different colors.
That would be weird. Be interesting.
I think it could look rather nice.
I don't think I could pull that off, though. I think you're well out of my skill range.
Make
them leathery bat wings?
Different glazes that Games Workshop.
Yeah, leather might work. At least it keeps that
nature feel, kind of thing. It's just something odd about the blue.
I think it's because they have a couple of big creatures that are beetles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
with, I think the Ariel, the forest queen, is riding on the back of a massive beetle these days. A stag beetle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's where they've gone. Where we've got beetles and we've got tree men. What if we have a tree man beetle thing?
I would have just gone with the whole idea of it just being spirit. The spirit half of them, and just forgotten about the idea of trying to make it feel like it's a physical aspect of them. Just done it as an entirely shade aspect to the creature, because they're sort of their spirits are infused with the trees that keep them alive and all that kind of thing, with the seeds inside them.
And they've certainly done with the undead ranges, so you know they can do that ethereal flow.
Yeah.
The other way you could approach it is you could almost take something of a mishmash between what they've kind of done for the Daughters of Cain and what they've done here for the Sylvaneth, and almost do a little bit like what you were saying, turning them into Batwings and having them as part of a Sylvaneth faction that lies within maybe the realm of Shadow or something like that, or one of the other realms that takes more prevalence in that sort of darker side of reality, and have it so that they were an offshoot of that kind of dark elf. I'm just going to use the word gene seed effectively from Warhammer Fantasy, and have them as almost physical beings with almost like blood and horrible stuff coming between where their bodies are fused to the wood, and then have the bat wings on the back as well. That could be pretty cool.
You could go and visit some of the aftermarket modification companies out there to see if they would maybe actually have a pair of wings that you could convert to go on there to maybe look a little bit more bat-like and a little bit less like this.
I don't want them to look bat-like either. That doesn't fit for me either.
It's the having the animal thing stuck to a tree.
It's just, here's where you get your challenge of the gaming in the gaps, right? Obviously, I want a 3-man army that I can use and it be my kind of army, okay? But to use those models, they're so tightly themed in some respects that you kind of have to go their way a little bit. It'll be interesting to see. I will maybe see about picking up the Loon. What do you call it? The Looney Tunes box.
It's Loon Curse.
Oh, Loon Curse, Looney Tunes Curse. To try it out, because at the very least, I love the gobos. And
When
the
are we
goblins
looking at this
amazing.
to land?
So it goes on pre-order today, and then it will be on sale the week after.
Is it on pre-order today?
It'll be on pre-order today, yes.
25% off for Backstagers. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. Happy days.
Nice.
Buy merch. Okay, next up we have Fria Ligan's in the rigging. Alien.
Yeah,
Bob.
cool. So this is a new role-playing game that is in the works by the guys at Fria Ligan, which is also Free League Publishing, if you want to say it in English. This is a game set within the universe of Alien, using mechanics and systems that were made popular by Tales from the Loop and Mutant Year Zero as well.
Nice.
There are going to be a couple of different game modes included within the book, which is quite interesting, which is some of the information they've shared so far. One of these will allow you to play out scenes not from the movies, but adjacent to them, that you are not expected to survive. They are made for single session adventures, themed around the different movies, where you are pretty much guaranteed to die, but if you survive, well done. But there are xenomorphs around, and they're going to kill you. The other side of things is that they're going to have a game mode that is more akin to a typical role-playing setting, so they will have the entire of the world created by Alien open to you, with Wayland Yutani and all that stuff thrown into the mix, where you're playing as scientists and explorers and marines and all that kind of thing, and you'll be creating your own stories within that universe.
Yeah.
I think of the two interesting things here, the things set around the movies and that idea of those you will die scenarios just sounds amazing, because I love the idea of how those are going to play out. One really fun comment that came out of this on Facebook when we put this out during the week was someone put like a sort of chat between a games master and a player, and it's like, what do you want to do? And the player's like, I'll hide under the desk. And then it says 5 hours later, okay, so what do you want to do? I'm not coming out from the desk. It's worked so far, I'm not leaving.
It's a valid. It worked for Newt.
It's a strategy. Yeah. It is a strategy.
They come out at night.
I gotta say, I am such a fan of taking the one shot approach to RPGs these days, because it's a big commitment to get involved in a larger link campaign. It really is. It's a commitment for both players and for especially the GM. Yeah. And just with I don't know about you guys, but time is really, really difficult to. The man is working us to the bone these days, guys. So it's like
you are the man.
I am the man. I wish I was the man.
See my poor little hands; they're hurting.
That's because you've got bony fingers. So having that one shot ability, and for them to focus in on the one shots, I think that's
a good idea.
And it's got a Cthulhu-esque thing about it in the inevitability of you're going to die.
Yeah,
I think that's great. I think that is perfectly fine for an RPG to set that out as one of the constraints.
When you tell a player, okay, you're probably going to die here, a lot of them are going to look at it and go, well, no, I'm not. I'm going to do my damnedest not to die. To hell with you, GM.
Or die well.
Yeah.
Maybe
dying well. What's the coolest way you could die?
Strapping all the grenades I can to Justin's character and pushing him into a room with a xenomorph.
Nice.
Okay, so I know I'm putting a lot of points into my strength just to stop that.
Look, there's no harm in Jerry bringing real world strategies into an RPG. It's like,
whoa.
Right, next up we have Fireforge. from out of nowhere, from my perspective anyway, have come out and announced Battlefleet World War II. Now, this is interesting. This is a 1 to 1800 scale fleet battle game that's going to cover the British, the Germans, the US, the Japanese, the French, and the Soviet fleets. And it's all about recreating World War II battles. However, a lot of the feedback that we've been seeing now from the ship kind of naval battle guys is that they're confused about the scale, because what they would tend to play would be like 1 to 3,000 or 1 to even 6,000. I think is some of the scales. They're bigger scales. So we've got this kind of almost bolt action-esque kind of thing going on, where the scale and the distances don't marry up. Yeah. But heck, if the game is good and the game is fun and it recreates the atmosphere of it, I don't care too much. But I like to give game designers the scope to muck around with any aspect of it, because it's not necessarily about a simulation. I'm interested to see do they create a good game out of this.
It's a game, not a simulation. And to be fair, we've seen it before with other games, not historical that I can think of at the top of my head, but Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah. The miniatures were so massively out of scaled to the actual system, because in reality you were always measuring to the stem of the flying base that the miniatures were on, because scales would be so massive. Yeah. And they could do something similar to this. When the game comes out, you may be measuring to the center point, and the ship itself may just be there as a representation. Yeah. It will come down to the mechanics.
Bring up the models. But that's the key to this. I want to see.
They're quite lovely.
One of the interesting things they talked about, because this was first announced on April Fool's Day, and everyone thought it was just a joke, but then obviously now it's become a reality. They have actually worked on the full beta rules for this, so maybe they should be coming out quite soon, but I think they aren't planning to actually release the game until next year, so there's going to be a lot of sort of cooking time effectively for the game to sort of come to fruition, as it were. I think they're actually working towards maybe a little tiny Kickstarter as well to help fund some aspects of it too, but from what they have said about the mechanics, as we're sort of looking at the miniatures and stuff, is that they're trying to make it so that it tries to replicate the feel of those battles, but with a little bit of a twist to it. They really want to try and bring in that kind of asymmetrical nature of how the forces work. So the British, the Germans, etc., will all play very much like their factions. So yeah, I'm really excited by this. I think it sounds pretty awesome. One of the other things, talking about scale, actually, they said that the planes are not going to be in scale to the ships themselves. They're going to be,
you wouldn't see them.
They're going to be heroic, as it were, just to give you the idea of them on the tabletop, rather than just as like little tiny chits or something.
I have no problem with that at all. I always like to see planes being bigger anyway, because then you get the idea that you're looking down.
Yes,
so your planes are bigger scale to the ships below them.
I gotta say, it's an interesting one. I'm a huge fan of Fireforge. Their stuff in the Crusades and the fantasy stuff they do is amazing. So it'd be interesting to see.
So jumping from historic medieval Dark Age 28 mil into naval battles and 1800 scale, that really is out of left field.
If they can do it, I'm all up for it. Okay, this week we had Az and Leo from Mythic Games in. And he got to spend some time with them. Yes. So Justin is going to sit down now and have a mega update from the guys at Mythic Games. They're going to be talking Joan of Arc, Solomon Kane, Reichbusters, Hell.
Oh yes.
And Super Fantasy Brawl.
Okay, everybody, I'm joined in the studio by Az and Leo from Mythic Games, and it's time for the Mythic Games State of the Union update. Amazing information
State
drop.
of the Union. Yes, a vote has been passed, and Leo is out. I shall be taking over as president of Mythic Games, and minis for everybody. That could never happen. That could never happen. Who am I kidding? Yes, this is a chance for us to sit down. It's been a while since we kind of sat down and just went, what is happening with us? Yeah. And it's kind of a big year coming. Yeah. It's been a busy couple of years, but it's a big year coming. So this was a kind of our chance to do a bit of where are we now? Where are we with kind of the 3 games that we've successfully kickstarted? Yep. And a little bit of a teaser later on about what's coming. Just for you guys.
I do love teasers.
So yeah, we kind of just wanted to delve in.
There are a lot of things to say. Yeah. So many things happened, and so many things are coming.
Yeah. So we'll kind of, to be honest with you, let's just go. We're going to take them one at a time.
Okay.
We're going to kick it off with our first one with Joan of Arc and chat about Oh, I have a plethora of Joan of Arc in front of me.
Of course.
And Leo always gets pleasure in saying, because these are the final.
These are the final plastic minis, the ones you will all get very, very soon, because the first boat arrived. And
At time of filming, literally yesterday, the first ships are arriving in Europe. But essentially, I know this is going out pretty soon to you guys, so you'll see it pretty live. Basically, backers worldwide should be starting to get Joan of Arc Wave 1 within the next couple of weeks. There's a few days between each of the boats. For example, there were 5 boats went to Europe, 18 40-foot containers for just Wave 1 for just Europe. That's not America, it's not Canada, Australia.
Wow.
18 40-foot containers across 5 ships.
So can I get a photograph of Leo unloading these?
Well, we had one of them riding it Titanic style, but they wouldn't, insurance reasons, they wouldn't let us share that. So yeah, obviously with that much stuff, it wasn't really feasible for us to put it all in just one boat, because as soon as a container was full, we were like, right, go get it to backers. So it does mean that some backers may get it a week or two before others. It's just unfortunately the nature of the beast when it comes to something quite this.
And we can't really tell who's going to have it first.
Yeah, it's a question we get all the time. Which boat is mine on? So, because we always give the ship names out, so you can actually, if you follow us on What's Up Wednesdays or on Kickstarter or on Facebook, we give the ship names out, so you can go on and you can track and you can follow where it is. There's a lot of people active on our Discord who do that. So for us, we're checking it kind of every day because we're super excited as well.
Yeah, and so no sea pirates? Coming from China, no sea pirates?
Touch wood. Touch wood as it goes around India, up the Suez Canal, through the Mediterranean, and I'm watching it going past Spain, past France, and all the UK guys are going, make it stop here, and I'm like, sorry guys, it's got to go to Rotterdam, and then it goes shipping out from there for Europe. And again, I'll say quickly, American, Canadian, rest of world, and Australian backers, all of theirs are currently being put onto containers as well. The trip across is a little shorter. They don't have to take quite as long on the ship, so they're kind of going second, so they'll start to arrive around the same time. So essentially, May, all being well, it's going to be a busy Joan of Arc month for everyone that backed or indeed late pledged.
Yeah, and then towards the end of May, you're going to be at Expo as well.
Yes, we are going to be at Expo from the 31st of May to 2nd of June. We're super looking forward to that. We're a supporting sponsor this year.
Nice.
So you can find us when you go through the door, look to the right, there's us. You really can't miss us. So we'll have a bunch of new stuff there, which we'll talk about a little bit of later. But of course, we'll be there en masse, and
people who want to play without games can play without games.
Absolutely. We're going to have tons of demo tables, tons of guys showing off everything. So if you haven't got it, you can still know. Hopefully, a lot of you will have it. But if you haven't got it, you want to play some of Rightbusters, you want to play some of Joan of Arc, you want to play some of our new stuff that's upcoming, it'll be there.
Yeah.
So yes,
I'm a little sad that this time on your visit across we haven't been playing Rightbusters.
Yeah. So this time, because obviously now we brought with us Joan of Arc. We also brought with us some stuff we'll talk about a little later. And we can only fit so much time into a visit, so we focused on a couple of games. But that doesn't mean we won't be back, because we've been doing a lot more with both.
And with Joan of Arc, we played with the final material, so you can see that for the first time.
So yeah, if we skip forward, like I want to show. Oh, we're skipping. This is actually a good time to talk about this though. So this is perfect. So we filmed a battle mode video at Beasts of War. Well, I think we'll say it. Justin took on the unholy, Leo took on the holy, and you guys went at it, right?
Yeah, we're not going to give away the results of that because we want you to watch it, but I will say, I had a lot of fun playing this style of scenario.
How did you find this guy?
Really fun, really tough as nails. Oh yeah, look at him. Look at him!
He's a bit...
He's huge.
He's awesome.
But in-game, he was an absolute monster, but with the battle mode, I found it a very different feeling because it was sort of an army that I was tailoring a little bit myself more, and I was able just to have a bit more of a play about with the different special rules and stuff I wanted my units to have and how I was going to actually lay them out and group them at the start of the game. Whereas with your scenarios, you're kind of sort of predetermined where you're laid out.
It really is a second game in the game, you know, really, because you get to know each of your units very well, and eventually you know exactly what combos or what things you can do with each of them. I also must say something about this. So once you receive your game, the battle modes will be available. Rules will be available on a PDF to download to everyone on the mythicgames.net website.
Of course,
and it will be a living document. It will be updated regularly.
Yeah.
So when we say Wave 1 and the battle mode and the army we did here, it's because the first army lists we are going to provide are just with Wave 1.
Yes.
But then as soon as Wave 2 arrives, then you can create your armies with everything.
This is a perfect example because you got the Unholy Army there, but the Apocalypse box, for example, will be coming in Wave 2 a little later this year. So whenever the Unholy Army list
same with
that.
the angels. I had Saint Michael, but there's also
Triumph.
Gabriel.
Yeah.
Gabriel is here, but Raphael is in Wave 2, and you have plenty of other holy units that are in Wave 2. So same for but it's still fun to play, even if it's with less material to choose from. But
I like the control that I have. I mean, like in this game, I had down the bottom, you can see the resources. So I had spare points. So I was fit to buy in some extra stuff to begin with, just to give me that little bit of a head start with my forces, give me a little more control over them, which worked really good.
Synergize it the way you want to. Yeah, for me personally, we've played a couple of battle moves ourselves as well, and I love working out on paper, first of all, how I want it to go down, and then trying to make that actually happen on the tabletop. It's great fun.
And it's a different experience than the scenario mode. The scenario mode tells a story. You have stories here as well because you can have the civilians still, and they add a little thing, but it's a different feeling. It really is about focusing on your objective and moving your troops and
and one angel can make all the difference sometimes.
Oh yes, so, okay, I think we have some more pictures I want to show for Joan of Arc.
Sure. Nah. You had to get this one.
I couldn't resist this one. Yeah, this is, so that gives you an idea of the scale.
So where is the beast? I'm asking.
Our beast is about the size of half a Justin. This was too much fun.
Who's the beast?
Yeah, we had some discussion on our Facebook page about who the actual beast was. They're equally awesome.
Yeah. Moving on, I think that's the end of Joan of Arc.
I have a couple more pictures actually for Joan of Arc stuff. If we have a little look, if go.
No, it's on Solomon Kane.
I want to show this.
Let me have a peek here.
Have a nosy.
Technical wizardry.
This one, we couldn't. Yeah, if you haven't followed our Facebook page, Mythic Games Facebook, you might have missed this. But this is essentially all of the mass production, the final versions of Wave 1, plus the pre-production copies of Wave 2, which is what we get to do our kind of final checks of all the print and all the minis, make sure it's all good. And we stacked it all together with our Leo.
So that's everything. That includes even the things that we offered during the Pledge Manager.
Yeah.
So
the siege equipment, the Ottoman army.
Siege equipment, Ottoman army. One of the three beige boxes is the plunder, and then you also have the role-playing game and the compendium.
So actually, let's go. So bottom to top, we have core box, the stretch goal box. So all the stretch goals everybody unlocked added into a custom box, the reliquary. Then we got the dragon. Then we got the one that everyone went, oh my goodness, this box is actually bigger than the dragon. How is that even possible? The siege. Then we have the apocalypse. Then we have Unleash Hell, which is where the devil's found. We have the village pack. Then we have the legendary battles, which is for those mass scale 6-player huge big battles. We've then got the what's above that.
Super exclusive.
Super exclusives, which of course is where you get the beast, where you get Magog and not the beast. It's
Gog and Magog, the tavern, and the crew of the.
This was our thank you note to everyone that supported us with our first Kickstarter. Then you've got the Ars Nova.
That's it.
Then you've got the compendium. Then you've got the role playing game. Then you've got the
role playing game supplement
and the DM screen. Yeah. Then you got the plunder. Then you got the Ottoman box, and at the very top you have the siege equipment.
That's it.
Wow.
We don't actually have the neoprene mat in there, which we realised we forgot.
That is a hell of a lot of stuff for your game.
Yes.
You know, people are going to be fit to play that for years.
Yeah, with over 40 different scenarios before you even delve into playing them multiple times and the replayability, before you delve into the battle mode, before you delve into the role-playing game, you really could have an entire...
The role-playing game also, I just want to mention it really is very, very, very good. I've played it, and we've also used some of the material they give, the background they give. So for players, it's really something that will give them plenty of background for their games and plenty of ideas if they want to create scenarios. Because of course, in this game, you will be able to create your own scenarios, especially with the scenario generator that will be offered soon. So we will have a digital app. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that means you can create your own scenario and then have it shared with everybody. So like the way, in the end, it will look like the way our scenarios are presented. So eventually we'll have plenty of other scenarios for the community.
We'd love to highlight, big popular community scenarios. Like we got a fantastic Facebook group, a fantastic Discord, and our hope is as the games start to arrive, we'll get a big community on Board Game Geek as well, and we can enjoy the forums on there. And of course, for the Beast of War guys as well, we've got to make a proper Beast of War scenario, right? Like it's got to happen. A beast and a war, it's easy peasy. We want to talk a little bit. Obviously, we're here doing a bunch of filming, but we've been doing a little bit of filming, ourselves as well. So a few pictures of Leo and I. We released this video about a week or so ago where we had our first proper battle mode with John Chandos, me playing the English, and Leo with Dugascon.
Duguesclin.
Always get it wrong.
Question: where do you get the dice tower? I want one.
That's in the plunder. That's in the Joan of Arc dice tower. When you got the plunder set, you could buy that. You could have got the dice tower on its own as well. That's part of our add-ons alongside the banners and the bases and the extra dice. It's kind of one of those nice to has if you want to kind of pretty up your table. And we loved playing with it. The dice tower was so very nice to me.
And it was a good game. The other ones I'm not telling again.
Yes, this is what I wanted to say. So obviously we're here filming. We did 3 battle modes videos we've recorded, and we're going to put that on our YouTube channel. One's out already with 2 more still to come on the Mythic Games YouTube. But we're here with you guys as well, doing some battle and some scenario stuff. Yep. So on the Beast of War channel, you guys will have plenty here too. So we're trying to put as much content out there as possible. People have something to tide them over until they get their hands on it.
So that's everything for Joan of Arc, yeah?
I don't know, it's hard to say everything for Joan of Arc, right? But that's pretty much...
Maybe we can mention Wave 2.
Yeah, so Wave 2, we've got all of the pre-production now, which is essentially signed off. So we've gone through, checked everything, gone through all the text, we're happy with all the mini quality, and that's basically entering into full production now. So essentially what we always say to our backers, we do a What's Up Wednesday every single Wednesday for all of our games. So Joan of Arc has had like 130 plus updates or something. I think it's even more than that since its start.
Crazy.
So in there, we'll have all the details about the shipping, about the production timeline, and we'll kind of, as soon as we know when the estimated packing's beginning, the estimated shipping's beginning, we'll kind of share that there. At the moment, we're still very much looking at sort of end of Q2, Q3, that kind of timeline roughly. But we'll kind of update that as soon as we have the information, our backers have it.
All right, so the next thing then
is
Solomon Kane.
Mr. Kane,
Yes.
the witch hunter himself.
Yeah.
And we have news for this as well.
Goody, what you got?
So we'll get this kind of semi-bad news out of the way first of all, which is we have announced a delay on Solomon Kane's delivery. So we ran this in July last year, and we were initially hoping to aim for something like a 1 year turnaround, so a July delivery. We are going to be extending that into Q1 next year. Now we made that decision, to be honest with you, and for the benefit of the game wholly. And we're going to chat about some of that in a second, but we've decided we'd employ a full-time writer. So we have an external contractor writer who writes for us non-stop, essentially, so we can build stories around the short stories that Robert E. Howard did. So whenever you're going through the narrative, you're choosing divergent paths, there's real text there. Right now, we're looking at about 200,000 words worth of text in Solomon Kane. It's really astronomical, and we really made this decision to say, what we have here is a great game, but we can really take this to the next level. We can improve our tile art that we've shown, we can improve with the initial previews and prototypes.
We went way further to what we first showed in the Kickstarter. Way further.
And we're going to chat a little bit about that because where we are. Because at the moment, production-wise, sculpting-wise, art-wise, tile-wise, we're really on plan. Everything's gone perfectly. We have a selection of plastic minis we'll look at in a second, which, again, we're very, very much happy with. And really what we're now doing is investing a bit more time than we originally had planned into the game and into the stories and the lore and that narrative.
See, I think that's the best reason to have a delay. I know people will say it's bad news, but it's also kind of good news because you're making the game better. You're taking the time to add the craft to it, to actually make it something really, really worthwhile.
It's not a decision we came to lightly. We didn't just say, we're trying to delay our backers, we're trying to delay any delivery. That's not what we want to do. We want to make a really excellent game. This is a license that we really value. And, Cabinet have been very open in saying to us, what you guys are doing with Solomon Kane is redefining him. The art that we're doing, that Guillaume Ponchalupi has done, is really defining what Solomon Kane is in like the 21st century, So, it would make
they were very open for that. And yes, and we really want to bring a game. So we believe that if people wait for a game that will be remembered forever, that's what we hope. Then it's worth a little wait. It's not easy for us, because it costs a lot to us. It's because you mentioned the writer that we hired, but we have also a full team dedicated completely and exclusively to Solomon Kane, and we have like crazy numbers for this game. We will talk about it later, but we have like an incredible amount of tiles, probably, and so waiting for this, I think, will be for the best interest of the game.
So I think that,
and the gamers.
One of the things I think that sets Solomon Kane apart, and it's something that we knew going in, and we made a very conscious decision about going in, is just the uniqueness of every single story. So it's hard for you guys to see at home, but on the table in front of us here, we have a whole range of our plastic minis from the factory. But in here, we have, this is just a small sample. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different, completely different adventures. There's no duplicated minis on this table. Every mini is a character. It is unique. Even our thugs and our pirates and our vandals, there's real character in them. And we did that with the minis. We knew we were going to have a lot of individual sculpts, a lot of individual protagonists and villains, but we really wanted to double down on that in what you as a player can do with the game. So if you make a decision to creep through the castle window and you disturb the maid, that should have a real narrative impact. There should be an entry in the storybook where you can go and find out about what you've done and what it's done to Solomon and the current state. And that's something that needed more time than we first thought about.
The replayability will really be there because of course you have the stories that were told, but you will have plenty of other paths. Plenty.
So let's look at just even one of the stories.
Yeah, sure.
Blue Flame of Vengeance is one that we showed very, very early on, and it's one that's developed really nicely for me. So that is all of these minis here.
From here back, yeah?
From there back. So essentially what we have is the story of betrothed love. We have the story of an evil George Banway, this kind of aristocrat who's trying to exert his force and break up this young couple. And we have the intertwined story of pirates who are trying to Solomon King because is hunting this pirate, the fishhawk, Jonas, and he's trying to hunt them down. And these are just a sampling of some of the characters. And even that guy you're just holding was just a basic thug. Basically,
what this is random pirate number 2.
Yes, well,
again, these are the plastic minis. So these are the final things that people will receive, and we mixed. Well, you can look at the base. The bases are very, very, very detailed. The weapons are very straight and not bendy at all because we used a mixing of PVC and ABS, and so I was very, very happy when we received the final minis because they are exactly. I mean, you wouldn't really tell the difference between them and the resin, and so people will have almost collection minis with this game.
Let me show, just while you have those ones there, let me give you this, Justin, and this is actually in 2 parts. I wanted to show everybody at home. What we're doing is actually, this is from a technical aspect really interesting, and we're doing an individual base for every single different sculpt and every single different character in the game. So they'll come pre-built, everything will come already glued and assembled for you to play, but that's how you'll find it. You'll find the base on its own, and then we will assemble them for you, so when it arrives, you have your characters like that. So every single base is its own unique little character. So I'll compare it to this one, for example. Leo was talking about the weapons. Each story takes place in a different environment. We have Americas, we have forests, we have caves, we have castles, we have streets. So this henchman, this bodyguard essentially to the Witchfinder General, is fighting outside taverns and in cobble streets and in towns. So the sandy beaches, the swamps of the likes of our Traveller and Ezra, they're all going to be very different.
Even the thugs and like the henchmen, look at the sculpts. You know, it's not like...
and it's not just a basic sculpt, it's actually a really nice dynamic pose that you've done. You've got them in motion, in action. That snapshot of them in mid-fight or preparing to attack is really nice.
Look at this guy. This guy is a hero. I love the
this is the epitome of a real sword fighting pose.
Look at how dynamic this is.
Now my favorite
sense of motion.
My favorite mini is actually our shepherd, because he has not only a little sheep. Now he's from, you'll say it for me, the Logre. L'ogre? How do you say it, Leo?
Logre.
So he's from the scenario which has, I'll give you him as well.
It takes place in French.
Yes.
In France.
And as you can see, the Logre is stealing from the farmer, and he has just a little sheepy on his back that he's protecting with his dog. And we didn't want to hold back on the bases, on the detail, and this, as exactly as Leo says, these are the plastic finals that we're now pretty happy with. We're very happy.
Yes, very happy.
One miniature I want to see here. The Butcher.
No, it's not the Butcher, it's this one, right? Surely. It's got to be. I mean, we can show the Butcher, but it's got to be that one, right?
It's the innkeeper. The innkeeper, not very welcoming innkeeper, but...
Look at him presenting Leonidas, the town crier, the innkeeper with his butcher's cleaver saying, "Look at this man. Would you like me to cleave him?" And this was a free stretch goal. During the campaign, we asked our backers to go on to Facebook and Instagram and BGG and share and get involved in the campaign. And we gave away a bunch of digital wallpapers, a bunch of art. We put 4 posters into the game, and we put Leo as the town crier into the game also. Isn't it good?
Yeah. Although I have to say, I'm looking at the butcher. There's a lag. Is he cooking people?
I could neither confirm nor deny.
Do you know the the story Rattle of Bones?
No, but I'm thinking Soylent Green.
So I think one thing I want to show as well is, of course, when you're playing Solomon Kane, you're playing as the virtues. So it would, I kind of feel remiss if we didn't kind of talk about it. So this is courage, and if you compare her to the size of kind of our average human, you can see.
So there's your average person.
Yeah.
And this is courage. So when the players play, you're obviously in the core game, you're playing cooperatively as the different virtues leading Solomon. So this is courage herself, a gorgeous mini. And these will give you such presence because when you place them on the board, they're going to be exuding auras. They're going to be helping you fight the darkness. Speaking of darkness, if you don't want to play cooperatively, you can have a player take on the role of darkness and play competitively. And that player will get to play as the darkness mini against the virtues, working against them. And this is a mode that we're very excited about. That's going to add an extra level of style.
We don't have Solomon Kane here because we only received the first copies of the plastic minis, not all of them yet, but almost all of them. And Solomon is a more complex thing to do because of the ABS and PVC mixing. So
I'm looking to see it. Yeah, a good example.
Soon,
so,
guys.
for example, this is a basic traveler. So we have a few challenges. The dress of the period. Obviously, we have a lot of swords. We have a lot of spears. Also, these fine hats with these brims. We wanted to try and keep the detail nice and sharp on them. So with these, with Solomon, we're taking a bit more time. So what we have here are essentially the minis that we're happy with, but we do go back to the factory over and over again to make sure they improve on what they're doing. And this Justice is a great one because it's really instantly recognizable. The blind Justice with the balancing scales is something that I think everybody can kind of see because it's so commonplace even in modern day.
But what I love is it's plastic. It's just when we will show plastic painted minis as well, and people will see that all the details you can have.
Gorgeous work.
Just,
and then who is the last one?
Well, this is Temperance, Temperance is, if you get right under, you can see she is levitating with her balancing jars of sand, essentially, where she's the one that kind of exudes keeping a clear mind, doing the right thing, keeping your temperament in good form. She's the kind, if you're a kind of player that wants to kind of talk your way out of situations, she's very good at helping with that and discovering things and looking around environments and discovering clues.
I love this one too.
It's George Banway. He's the stuck up aristocrat who's kind of a little bit up himself, who's getting mixed in with some pirates that he really shouldn't be, and Solomon will have to choose how he wants to deal with George.
I've had enough of you today. I'm throwing away my hat and coming with my sword.
That's it, right? So we're pretty happy with the progress that we're making on this. As I say, every detail really matters.
So the minis.
God, you've even sculpted wrinkles on his forehead.
I know.
The seashells on the sandy beach ones also get me as well. There's a few different ones because the sword fight takes place if you go down that story route on the beach. And the crab. We have some big beasties too. We have the likes of the Beast of Bordeaux, who is a big alpha wolf that Solomon has to work out how to deal with because it's terrorizing the local villagers.
Yeah, and then the details in and around the base there with all the different bits that you've sculpted in there.
Yeah, it's the dead deer essentially that it's
big.
Standing
really
on.
Big mini.
Lovely.
Yeah, the ogre is also great. You've shown that. We'll have some even bigger mini. The biggest one is the Red Horror.
Yes.
We don't have it yet, but it's coming.
Gribbly. Red Horror is something.
And
something
it's very,
shocking.
very impressive. It's very Lovecraft.
Yes.
You did send me some slides as well.
Yes, of course.
Talk about.
So the sculpting is going the way we want, obviously, but what we've also been doing is working a lot on the tiles. Now, way back at the start of the Kickstarter, we kind of let people know just how many tiles there were going to be in the game and how they were going to vary from scene to, or from story to story. I wanted to give a quick idea to everyone at home to show. So we've got like a tavern, we've got a castle hall, we've got a bedroom, and we've got an outside muddy stables where you're kind of creeping in. So this essentially shows you that just in one single story, depending on the choices you take, you could have completely different environments, completely different interactions with characters that you're going to have to deal with. And we're taking this Castle of the Devil, and we're taking this opportunity to really explore it. And again, it's Gillian Pongilupi we're working with on this, and he's just doing a stunning job.
So the same artist that did all the art
Yeah.
did the tiles as well, which almost all the tiles, which is going to give the game a very harmonious feel.
It's going to help with the continuity.
Oh yeah,
Because the style will match,
and
it'll
we'll have
feel
so
one
many
matches the other.
different tiles. It's ridiculous. Normally games have like 40 tiles. That's already a lot, and we'll probably have close to 200 tiles, which is crazy. Yes.
to give you an idea, as you approach the castle, you will be forced or have the decision, or depending on your actions, certain outcomes will happen. Sometimes it's your choice, direct and simple, just choose a path. Sometimes it's your actions have outcomes. Sometimes you're kind of forced, depending on how well or how badly you do, to go a certain route. So as you approach the castle, maybe you go through the entrance, maybe you set a distraction in the stables, maybe you climb in the bedroom window, maybe you go and try and meet with the servants and liaise with them to try and get some information. This is the kind of versatility we're talking about, each individual story, and there's loads and loads of stories. And so yes, this is hopefully, I think Leo nailed it earlier, this is going to be something that will really last, not just a game, but something that you and your family can just go and say, instead of having story time tonight, let's delve into Solomon Kane. Yeah. And we have more tiles to show, again, a bit of the versatility. This is from the Beast of Bordeaux. This is some of our cave tiles. I love this piece of art with Solomon looking really...
I kind of want that as like an A2 poster.
Right. Yeah, we did it. We are including a few bits of art for our backers, thanks to them breaking the social stretch goals, which was outstanding. Cool. So this, we've got a lot of versatility, which is just to show we're taking our time with this. So we really appreciate the backers understanding with us kind of reworking.
Yeah, the reaction has been very nice. So I want to thank the people for their understanding.
The reaction was incredible, actually. We had what was their initial reaction? Can you open the pledge manager back? It was
to open again.
Yes.
Which because usually what when you're on a Kickstarter, you'd like to keep the pledge manager open as long as possible for people to get all the details and everything in ahead of the delivery. And then once you get to the point that you want to send stuff to the factories, you need to then say, look, we need all the details.
You have to have that cutoff point to lock it in.
So because we moved that cutoff point back to the start of next year, essentially when we're looking to deliver it, their reaction was, can we get in to get some more, please? And what can you say? We were overwhelmed.
So surprised by this reaction, but so happy also, because we know it's not a good news to announce, but we try to explain and give everything,
But you're doing it for the right reasons. It's not that there's problems; it's that there are creative things that you want to do.
There's opportunities that we can't ignore.
Exactly,
we really can't.
It's an enhancement delay, not a problem delay.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, because this is not going to ever go to retail. Solomon Kane is the late pledge for it is open on GameOnTableTop.com. If someone, if you are interested at all in the game, it's not going to go to retail. We didn't do that license agreement, so we want to curate this really, really well this time.
Yeah.
I have a couple of other things to show. So we have
updated old tricks.
Well, we've obviously done some gameplay footage we came to be. So what we did, we've done a couple of videos ourselves as well. One thing we've done since the Kickstarter and since playing the game even more is we've gone back and reworked all of the virtues. We've changed their decks. We've made them feel more unique, more epic, giving players more ownership of the world that they're impacting by being a holy, powerful, virtue of light. And one of the things we've done as well, if you skip forward onto the next slide, is we've introduced the 7 deadly sins to counteract this. So, for example, your virtues are now more powerful. However, you're going to come across these events. If darkness reaches Solomon, events trigger, horrible things start to happen. And one of the things that can happen is he can start to fall and succumb to sin. And the virtues have to work against this. So in this example here, what we see is pride, which actually believing that one is superior or more important than others, failing to acknowledge the accomplishments of others, and excessive admiration of self. This forces all virtues to get removed from the board, and virtues can no longer be replaced or put on the board at all unless you can work together to quell this darkness by putting a light token on this. This is like a permanent aura that impacts the story until you deal with it. And it's not Solomon that has to do it. It has to be the virtues that put that light there.
Yeah, but it's showing the pressures that Solomon's under going through the story. If he's out and he's, seeing all of the lower classes and it's just like, well, I'm better than all of you. Yeah. All of a sudden, boom.
This is it. And this is an extra level of detail and randomness
an
and
improvement
replayability.
over what we initially had. You know, the ideas of the 4 virtues came from him being such a believer, almost a zealot. You know, and so we said, well, he believes in the 4 cardinal virtues, so we had them as the players, and then it meant sense to also have the 7.
This was almost a backer-driven thing as well. We did have quite a few ask us what about.
Even the best can fall.
Yeah, absolutely. Solomon Kane has his dark moments for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next.
Yeah. So that to be honest, that's kind of an update on where Solomon Kane is. Realistically, if you are interested, as I say, coming to the Kickstarter page, reading some of the comments and the updates there, and then having a look at GameOnTabletop.com, you can see what's on there. We're kind of updating.
We have a weekly update for Solomon Kane, just like for our other games, and we keep giving and providing new game information, new things, new little things to learn about the stories, and so this is what we have been doing constantly for each of our games. So if you go to the Kickstarter page, you look at the updates, they are public. I think they're open to the public.
Yeah, they are.
You will see what we are doing, and we try to give something new every week.
See, this is what I love about what Mythic Games does. You always continue to engage with the community you build on a Kickstarter, because there are some games out there, it's a flash in the pan. I'm on Kickstarter, I'm off Kickstarter, see you in 2 years.
Yeah.
You guys are continuing to engage with that community, continuing to feed them, keeping that interest there. I mean, which is great.
I have to take my hat off to like our entire team, you know, because we have three.
It's a lot of work to do.
For the 3 games we're talking about here. So the next slide shows the next one we're going to chat about, which is Reichbusters.
Of course, Reichbusters.
So with these 3 games, we have 3 separate teams. You know, so we have Babas, Deal, Nick, all working on Solomon Kane with Jack Thornton helping them, and they go on and they engage with the community. They take ideas and they share them. We have Ed, we have Stu, we have Josh, we have Steve again with Jig as well, with looking after Reichbusters. Then we have the guys in the Paris office who are looking after Joan of Arc. The whole team, they go on and engage. We have Ben who's looking after all the logistics on there. We have everybody at Mythic Games loves to engage and talk with our community because we get ideas, we get good feedback, we're open and honest, we say what it is. So we're just as thankful. You know, we love doing it, and we're just as thankful that people reciprocate.
But it feels like all 3 games are alive.
Yes.
You know, it's the way I would describe it is that
at different stages. They're all kind of
they're at different stages, but they're all still alive. Even though Solomon Kane is there and it's working on that final production, it's still growing and evolving, and that's something beautiful to see. Sometimes you'll see game finishes on Kickstarter. Okay, that's as far as we're going to take it. Yeah. You know, even though they would wish to take it further, they maybe can't, or they're just not ready for it yet. But you guys are, and you're just pushing on, which is cool.
Yeah, I really think the value will show when they arrive to back.
Yeah, because that's the good point of Kickstarter. It's you can still get some feedback from the community and make it evolve and make it better. Yeah. And if we can, we will.
Although I could do something bad here. Leo, I want you to pick between one of your 3 children.
Oh my word! I know what you can't give in to Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc is right.
Probably Joan of Arc. Yeah, but you know, it's a tough question because it's a tough question because I really deeply love each of these games, honestly, and I will play them. You know, but if I had to choose, that would probably be Joan of Arc. But not by far.
And what other version can you play with a 15mm version of yourself? Walk into a tavern, have a chat to a cat, and then slay a dragon. Like, come on, that's Joan of Arc. So I mean, this is the funny thing. So Joan of Arc is kind of delivering literally, you know, within the next couple of weeks. Solomon Kane, you know, unfortunately has been pushed back to the start of next year. Reichbusters is basically entering production right now. So we are on our original estimate was November for this year. So 1 year after the Kickstarter, we're still very much on plan for that. That's so good. Again, we were always given rough estimations from the factory and from the logistics guys, so we have to.
And if there's anything that changes, we will tell. Of course. But for now, honestly, really, we are very confident. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Always.
Reichbusters should be on time.
Awesome. Couple of updates about it, because again, we were filming Project X with you not that long ago.
Dude, it was so good.
Like, we wanted to come back and show that off. We ourselves had done some filming too, but even since then, we wanted to squeeze in a few more things before we kind of finalized it. So check these out. Now, these don't look like much, but these are different elements that sit on the tiles and are randomized on the tiles when you're playing the game. These are called room features. Now, if you flip over to the next slide, you'll see what I mean. So, on your map, you will have these features, and when your heroes come across them and the right busters see one of them, you will flip it to the other side. But what you'll see on the right is that there are several different potential results to what each of them could be, which means you might have to react. So, for example, a Vril gas leak means you're going to have to stay out of that room or move through it promptly. A corpse cart's going to spawn zombies on you. A dead man's boots might reveal some items that you can pick up. You may be able to spend actions to upgrade the Vril workstation, lets you take your Thompson, make it a Vril Thompson, lets you upgrade your weapons on the fly.
Nice.
These are elements that are going to help make your scenarios, help make your raid mode games feel a little bit different every single time. We've got the Forge, we've got Mysterious Liquid, and all these different room features will come with the game to add that extra level of unknown and replayability and difference every time you do a mission.
I do like the Praise the Lord one, because if you flip that, the Vrilmeister turns up.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. And if he's already there, he brings one of his big badass bosses to come and help as well. So yes, the altar is one you should not go into unless you're prepared. Yeah, exactly. And this is again just kind of adding a little bit of extra flair to the game that we kind of talked about during the Kickstarter, and something
and
an
replayability also, because there's a lot of replayability here also.
It makes it a little more Hollywood, and it's already really Hollywood.
Yeah, that's right. Kicking indoors and going, oh, I really shouldn't have kicked in this door is all the fun of Reichbusters. It really is. And we have some more stuff that we've been working on. So again, with our What's Up Wednesdays every week, we've been sharing. The team have been fantastic talking about this regularly. So this gives you an idea of the different team cards that you can find within the game. So if you want to go Team Harrier, you can go very much offensive, using weapons, armor-piercing grenades, working together to really synergize ranged attacks. If you want to be Team Kestrel, you can go that solid route where you have people who can successfully commit challenges. If you make a mistake, they can fix it easily. They're like the solid team. If you want to go espionage, you want to go with a disguise kit, you want to go with silent weapons like knucklebusters, take sneaky, use opportunists to kind of use advantages, go Team Falcon. If you want to go mad, you want to forget heroics and just make all your weapons Vril powered, get Vril implants and become like all sorts of like immune to the power of the energy, go Team Vulture. And these are things you pick at the start of the game. Team Vulture's mad.
I'm looking at it, and I think out of them, Team Vulture is very tempting, I've got to admit.
Once you go Team Vulture, you just don't go there, right? It's because I did our last game I played O'Reilly, the Irish guy who loves Vril, and it's just like, I'm going to throw loads of dice and I might explode, but it'll be fun. And that's O'Reilly. So Team Vulture kind of epitomizes that quite a bit.
And again, that's what blends into the replayability of this, because you could play a different team, but you could also play a completely different set of heroes rolling into the same scenario.
Exactly. You have 17 heroes, so can you imagine the different combinations you can have, and then you have different teams to play, so all these adds a lot of replayability.
The last time you showed us like your beat 'em up character select page, and it's just like, I want some techno music from like an old Super Nintendo rolling in the background.
Yeah, exactly. So what we have for this as well is outside of the team cards, not the next one just yet, but when you're playing the campaign, you don't have a team card per se. What you have instead is Reichbuster HQ. So when you bring weapons back, when you bring items back, when you bring intel back, they'll go into your HQ. And every time you go to the next campaign mission, you'll equip yourselves from the HQ. You can even spend heroics to buy skills permanently for your characters. So you won't just start with your basic skill. You've got 3 more slots on your player board. You'll be augmenting and adding to that as you go through. So when you're playing the campaign, whether it's just the core box campaign or whether you go to Not of This Earth or Project X as well, you will be able to kind of delve into all of that and expand as you go. So the decks never change, but your equipment, your skills, and what your characters can get up to definitely evolves.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the skills alone can really make a difference to the different heroes. You know, can you imagine Red Hawk with something super stealthy?
It's so funny. The very first time we played here, we still had Red Hawk being able to fire her sniper rifle silently, and she was a machine. We balanced the heck out of that.
I was a sad panda.
Yeah, we didn't allow her fire her sniper rifle silently anymore because that was too strong. And so part of the love of doing something, a Kickstarter and then developing it.
The campaign is going to be really interesting, and it tells a story. There will be some surprises, sometimes things very unexpected, and you will get to discover some secrets. And the finale is very, very cool. So this is going to...
we really haven't been giving too much away.
We're currently in a moment in the world where everyone's just going, no spoilers. No spoilers. I'm saying it again.
Spoiler, no spoiling.
But yes, but it's really worth the experience. It's an easy to play mission because you don't have to have the same guys playing with you all the time. The way the mission system was designed, it's very flexible with your friends. So
and
you could
I
have.
do like the idea that no one's ever fully knocked out. That if you get knocked out during the mission, you're captured, and then you have to try and come up with the team that's going to save him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and you don't even need the same number of players. You know, it's very flexible again. So that means you will be able to play, and you don't have that many episodes as well. So it's not taking you for a year before you can finish it. So I think it's
so a recent tweak we actually made was on that player count point, because we wanted to have it feel good at 1, 2, 3, 4 players all the time. 4 players is kind of like our ideal epitome. That kind of feels the nicest with that many players. But if you play with less, we have added little rules in. So for example, you get additional actions to open doors. You get to kind of peek and see things ahead of time to give yourself that balance. So whenever you play with less players, you get the same feeling. And instead of just saying, oh, you have more actions, what we give you is a little flair, a little kind of way to you saying, okay, you're on your own. So because you're just taking this on a solo mission, you can kind of peek things and get a little bit more intel before you make your decision.
Yeah, you're a little more stealthy because you don't have 3 other folks running in behind you.
Exactly that.
a Warren.
A Warren. I love the way that's described. Just a Warren with a pineapple grenade.
So I can't remember. Did I bring another slide in? Did I? Yes. Oh, yes. This. So yeah, we've been filming quite a lot recently, doing a bunch of Let's Plays. Obviously, we did Project X with you guys, and at the same time, we decided we would do an alien mission. So we went onto the Not of This Earth expansion, and we fought against Dr. Koff and the different aliens that are off-world through the Vril portal, using his telekinetic abilities, and these aliens who can mind control and really kind of leech onto you. And this is more stuff that we've kind of been further developing, and it's on our Mythic Games YouTube channel if you guys want to check it out.
We had fun, you can see.
I've got to say, did someone just throw a grenade there or what?
Because
that's a grenade face.
So this is Leo loves it. Stu is not impressed, as is either constipated or just not sure of what just happened. Whereas Josh is like, "Oh my god, that just happened." I'm pretty sure this was the point where a ton of stuff spawned that shouldn't have, because we really went a bit too.
So you're
mad.
just going, oh
yeah. I'm pretty sure halfway through that mission, one of the tiles had a cave in, and we all kind of got stuck in the tile and got swarmed. It got pretty nasty pretty fast, but we did okay.
That's one of the fun things about it is, you might be getting swarmed, but if Sarge is there, just
this is it.
Off he goes with it.
You got to work out how to solve it.
Yeah.
So that's the big bit of news then on Reichbusters is that we're heading towards production very soon. So everything is kind of now being finalized. We're now kind of looking at getting the mass production, the pre-production and the mass production copies through. So we're happy with everything. We are looking at opening the Pledge Manager again, because just for a short period of time, just for literally a week or two, so we can get a few more people to submit their details. I cannot stress this enough. If you've backed a Kickstarter and you want to receive your game, you gotta go into the Pledge Manager.
Yep.
You gotta give us your address, your phone number, your email, and confirm all of that, and sort the shipping out, because otherwise we don't know where to send it to. That detail, your address never goes into Kickstarter. It goes into the Pledge Manager.
Okay, so important thing for the Pledge Manager is just something I'm curious about. It's for people just who have already pledged. You can't have late backers.
It's for both. We can indeed.
We can have
late
backers.
So if you backed on the Kickstarter, come and give your details. If you didn't,
It's
you
only
can
going to be like
pledge.
15 days or something, like a short period.
It's primarily to get the people that need to give us their details, because what we end up with is always a small percentage of people who kind of miss the Pledge Manager, and then we're stuck with their game going, we want to send it to you.
Yeah, we want to send this to you. Please tell us where.
Exactly. But yes, if you want to late pledge, if you want to add any of the add-ons, the Sergeant Sally, the Army Paint Kit, the nearpreme mat, any of the stuff we've added on in the Pledge Manager, that's all there. And again, it's on GameOnTableTop.com. We're working with those guys
the
again.
Pledge Manager was pretty successful.
Yeah.
It's this is what we've noticed. We have, well, for Joan of Arc, we doubled what we did, even more. And for the others, we went almost to what we did. So that's pretty impressive.
But can you imagine if those people had done that during the campaigns? How much extra stuff you would have unlocked?
It's a tricky one, that. I'm just saying, we definitely have more champion ideas. That's we had champion. Sorry, more. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. More Reichbuster ideas. You'll see. Hero champion. They're all champions to me, these hero Reichbusters.
That's a slip right there. That's a slip.
Right, next thing. We're getting into future now. So we've talked about everything that's kind of past and coming, bringing us right up to speed. At Cannes this year, at the Festival International des Jeux, we teased a couple of new things that we've been really quite quiet about. And we're going to just give a little bit more about what 2019 is going to hold for us.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you want me to hit the slide?
Yeah. So.
Ooh. Something Viking?
Yes, it's called Hell: The Last Saga.
Me likey.
So we are not going to say much because it'll come later. Right now, we're really focused on delivering Joan of Arc.
Of
So
course.
we don't want to, give the impression that we are already launching something else. So this will happen. We will do, and this will be a very different campaign and a different experience. This is a different thing we're trying with this game. What I can give you is a little bit of background that we've already given. So first of all, it will be a board game with different mechanism. It will be, you could call it a Viking survival horror type of games.
Okay, my wallet's twitching.
Yeah. So it's year
999.
It's 999.
900, yeah, that's it.
999. So turn of the first century.
Yes.
Millennium. Yeah.
Millennium.
Oh, sorry.
So you have this Viking king who did this dream on a winter moonless night. This dream of a land of wealth.
Yeah, bountiful goodness.
yes,
a place where his people could go and stay and live out their years. Get away from the Christianization that's happening. Because it's that time when the Viking kind of is being encroached upon and their livelihood, their lore is being taken away.
Yeah. And in this land, you have plenty of herd. The land is fertile. It's kind of a promised land. So he had this very, very, very vivid dream, and he had his men, some of his men tattooed on the way how would you call, he wants to go there, so he tattooed like the map on the back of a few men. So he went with his crew over there to found an outpost. Would you say that? An outpost, and then another expedition was supposed to arrive a little later to join them.
Start to build the colony.
Yes.
Start to land there.
Why do I get the feeling this is Canada? Because they actually recently found some Viking settlements in Canada.
Yes, it's Canada, the last saga.
You don't know.
The Maple Leafs.
Could it be Canada? It could be Greenland. We won't tell. But it's so. The second expedition was supposed to arrive after they had been able to create this outpost. So the second expedition goes, and it's a terrible journey. Like, a lot of men die. A lot of it's really, really hard to arrive there, and in the end they have to cross through this misty environment. There's only one ship that makes it, and only a few survivors, 12 survivors. And when they finally arrive, this is not what they expected. And so this will be the basic introduction to each game you play. And we're not going to say too much more about this. But maybe a little bit.
The key thing about Hell is that this is going to be a Kickstarter campaign, and it is going to be, I think the best way I can describe it is a narrative Kickstarter campaign. You're going to join us on a bit of a journey. You're going to reveal it with us as we kind of go through what they're discovering. It's going to be it's not going to be particularly long. It's going to be a kind of short campaign.
The start of the campaign is them landing on the beach then, is it? Okay, this is going to be very different. I'm going to have to keep a close eye on this one.
So, as you as a player will essentially be looking after your survivors. I'll be looking after my survivors. Leo will be looking after his survivors, and each one of us will be trying to keep the colony and the outpost. It's
really a game. It's not like a fight game. You're not playing only like the big Viking berserkers. No, you have every single people of the Viking society represented. So it could be a child, a hunter,
a traditional fighter,
a bard. It could be a king, of course. It could be a madman. It could be a blacksmith, or even a slave.
Jarls, and everything in between.
A jarl, exactly. So
it's a real mismatch, and they're all going to uncover. No, I'm not going to. I say their own horrors. I think it's probably enough to say.
Okay.
So whenever you play survival horror, Viking horror, semi-cooperative, dark and dangerous are the feelings, but very thematic, very narrative, which is why we're being a little cards close to our chest on this.
You got me curious though.
So, but very later this year, and we will start the journey. and welcome everybody to come and join us on it.
Well, if it's going to run quite a short Kickstarter campaign, do me a favor, give us a shout a week before you launch, so that we can warn people.
Could
give
we
them a
say
date and time.
something about UK Games Expo?
Oh, do you have
What I'll say is, because we're being quite secretive about this, you may have seen a little bit of art. We did release a very small, I'm not even going to put it on the screen, there's a little small bit, a couple of pieces of art for Hell on Board Game Geek and also on the Mythic Games Facebook page. And we at UK Games Expo are going to be showing Hell, but it is going to be just on display, a little bit on display, but primarily behind closed doors at a press only. A little bit of private space, so we can sit down and show some of the story and some of the game to some of your kind of favorite content creators out there. So once that UK Games Expo will kind of finish on the 2nd of June, and after that, I think the journey may kind of start to appear, and you may start to get some initial feelings out there.
So basically, when I turn up to UK Games Expo, I need to make sure and borrow a Viking battle axe off the Vikings outside to carve my way into the press area. Yeah,
it's going to be. It's not even press area. It's behind closed doors. It is invite only. Yes. So
what we can tell is about the two creators of this game.
Yes, of course.
It's David Rakoto and Christophe Madura. So these gentlemen are friends, have been friends forever, and they have produced the excellent
Word of Smog.
Yes,
the whole series, a big the gentleman.
Smog,
and the...
Rise of the Moloch.
That's it.
Yes, Rise of the Moloch by Simon. It was a very beautiful Kickstarter, and so it's another game that they produced together on a very different theme, but very.
It's really nice to have. They work very closely together, and they have worked very closely together for many years. And usually we like chatting and throwing things back and forth. We like working with artists a lot. And this time we've got two guys, both internal, who speak very regularly every single day. They work in the same office, literally like as far away as we are now, and they synergize so well. And seeing what David describes and how Christoph brings it to life, I was about to say it's good, but it's not. It's chilling, I think is the word I would use.
I mean, the art is so impressive. And
no, let's not. Let's because we can't show. We're not going to show any of it, so we're just being mean.
It's something different, so and Leo, this is why we don't show things for now.
Don't make me gag you.
So Leo, I'm taking you out to dinner tonight. Yeah?
No, you're not. He's under ball and chain. So we'll switch it up a notch, will we? Yeah. We're going to show some stuff now.
Okay.
Completely different.
Whoops. So this was the second thing we talked very briefly about at the Festival International de Jeu in February in Cannes. This is Super Fantasy Brawl.
Yes.
Could not be more of a different feeling game if you even tried. This is a game we're bringing to retail, and it's a very...
so it's not a Kickstarter?
Well, let me come back to you. So it's a retail-focused product, and it will launch at retail next year. We're hoping for a sort of Q1 next year. It'll be something that will be focused on organized play, so kits, store events, very much an easy entry, fun, exciting game, but also very high skill level. So if you like competitive games, this will appeal to you. It will scratch that itch. Super Fantasy Brawl is a game that focuses on going back in time, grabbing all of your favorite fantasy characters, whether they're dwarves, elves, ogres, trolls, pirates, samurais, ninjas, assassins, whatever they may be, grabbing them all, bringing them to now, jumping into an arena and brawling. Right. This is essentially. So we're going to be expanding this game into a whole world of different fantasy stereotypes and putting our spin and our kind of flair onto it. So we got a few bits to show off that have been seen before and some new stuff for you guys.
So start cycling through then. Yes.
Let's go. So this is Dogrin,
Dwarf,
Warden of the North. He's our essentially real typical kind of role-playing fighter, but very much empowered by the magic that he uses to defend his homeland. It's Dundurin. I always get the pronunciation wrong. Stu will kill me. Yes, and look, you've got him right there. This is our Seb Levine. This is a 3D print of our first Dogrin, with the scenic base that they will come with. So this game is about picking champions. You'll play a game with 3 champions. It's completely faction free, so you can play elves with dwarves if you really want to, unless you want to kind of hold true to that stereotype that they don't like each other. And you're going to take that team of 3 champions and you're going to mash them together and go and take down your opponent.
Well, I mean, like it doesn't matter if the elf and the dwarf don't like each other. In this, did you not tell me I'm playing the wizard controlling it? So if I want the dwarf and the wizard or the dwarf and the elf to fight together, they will fight together.
The idea is that in the world of Fabulosa, in this, and we'll have a proper sit down chat about this for you guys as well. But in the world of Fabulosa, there's been millennia and generations of battles, a never-ending war, and it wasn't until the wizards managed to create what they call true magic. They united creation magic, destruction magic, and manipulation magic to make true magic that would allow them to essentially make everyone's wishes come true. So you want a house, boof, you had a house. You want food, boof, you have food. You want to fly, boof, you can fly. Everything, the whole planet, the whole civilizations were happy. Everything was great. They had everything they ever possibly wanted. And it was boring. Yeah,
3 colors.
That's it.
Yes,
Yellow, blue, and red that synergize the whole game together. Of the Super Fantasy Brawl logo, and it's on every single one of our cards because it shows you that the whole world is based on. And to alleviate their boredom, they used to drink, they used to sleep, they used to argue about from all those millennia, who were the best fighters, who were the best, what race would be, who was the best warrior of all time, and the only way they could decide to resolve it was to have a brawl. To go back in time with permission of the Council of Corrections, who manage the timelines to make sure that they're not messing wibbly wobbly, timey wimey with it too much. And whenever the wizards go back, they pick out the champions, bring them to 9, and they battle, they brawl. If you're a good enough wizard, that is, because the Super Brawl is the pinnacle. It's the highest point. If you're not a good enough wizard, if you're in like the lower tiers, you can have Dugrin when he was a bit younger, or Dugrin when he was a bit older. You don't get him when he was in his prime, when he was able to call down blizzards empowered by his magic to hurt his foes. You get him when he's probably a bit more injured and a bit more bedraggled.
So in the twilight of his life.
That's right. And then if you work your way up through the leagues and you make it to the Super Brawl, then you can maybe have some of the better champions.
It's the ultimate entertainment show, right? For the masses.
For the utopia that has everything, for the utopia that wants for nothing. They don't need money, they don't need resources, they can just have whatever they want at a click of a finger. This Super Brawl is what
they were
do.
bored, and so this will bring them excitement.
Let's have a look at a few more champions. We have a bunch. So here's Gwen. Gwen's the Gathering Storm. I've got a few different ones I'm going to show them, a few more minis. Gwen's the Gathering Storm. She's our high elf, very much stuck up. She was born into nobility. She instantly took to controlling destruction magic. She would wipe out entire armies with fire and lightning without even blinking. She was just the leader of their forces. And she comes to the brawl, and her will and what she wants, if she wins the brawl, is to be able to become a wizard. Essentially, she wants to control all 3 types of magic, because she, as a sorceress, essentially can only control destruction.
So she's a player, but she kind of wants to become a player owner.
That's it. That player owner. That's perfect. If you keep going through, we've got a bunch more.
Yeah, sure. Next up,
here's my favorite champion. This is Goldar, Scourge of the Several Seas. We don't quite know how many, but it is several. He had his ship, the Grave Robber. His sole goal in life is to plunder as much gold and booty as he possibly can.
Look at this mini.
I love the sculpt. See the big swing on the chain there? That is gorgeous. Beautiful. Love the fact that he's got a treasure chest on his back. Yeah. And then this big wheeling harpoon.
And his play style really represents that. He uses his anchor to battle people away, and then he uses his spear to stab them and maneuver them and push and pull them around the arena. It once heard a story that he once fought with a great white shark just to get a gold doubloon from its tooth. That is Goldar. He wishes, if he wins the brawl, his wish is to be put back into his timeline and have riches beyond his wildest dreams. But to be honest, I don't think that would really sate him, because his whole thing is that even if he doesn't make a name for himself, which he has already, he could just buy himself a name. He has so much gold. Yeah.
But, I mean, like, surely he just wants to arrive back on his ship and go, Shinies, me hearties!
That is it. Like, landlubbers, better beware. Yeah. So, we'll keep going through.
Yeah. So we've got the board.
Yes. So actually, let's talk about the board, and then I got some more stuff to show you actually. Yeah. So this is an early prototype of what the board is going to look like. It is a hex-based arena where you have 2 opposing teams starting on either side, and then you'll be battling around statues that are empowered by creation, destruction, and manipulation magic, trying to fight over areas, completing challenges. And if anyone's looking keenly, you'll see some art here, which is sneak peeks for the future.
There's a mole man.
I'm saying nothing about...
Is that a mole man or... No?
I'm saying nothing about what that might be.
I can only imagine what abilities he'll have.
You've had a chance to play the game a little bit, so you can already think about what he might be up to.
Yeah.
And the idea is that when you're playing, the game's very easy to pick up. You just have 3 actions on your turn, you're moving around, and you're sort of trying to control areas. If we skip forward to the next slide, we'll see a little bit more. So here's an example of, this is Suzhou. Suzhou is our Tagarin Swords Master. We have another Seb Levine beautiful painted mini to show for
and
this.
I'm trying to be very delicate with it because I don't want to mess up Seb's gorgeous work.
It's worth being very clear about this. These are our 3D print prototypes. It is going to be a retail game next year, but as Justin mentioned, we are hoping that this year we'll be able to have a way of getting this to people a little early, a little pre-order, a little campaign, a little something to get people into.
So an early adopter campaign?
Essentially, yes. That's kind of what we'll be aiming for. These are very, very early, but the bases you see on them and all the detail there, that's exactly the quality we want in the plastic versions that go out.
You keep telling me this is really early. These are gorgeous. Every component I have seen for this.
Yeah.
If I got it as a retail product, I would be happy.
Yeah, I hope so. I grabbed a couple of minis from your supply just to give people at home an idea, because this scale is very different. We've obviously done kind of that 15 kind of roughly scale with Joan of Arc. We've done that kind of 28-32 more for Solomon Kane, and then 32 kind of for Reichbusters. I wanted to show people at home just roughly the comparative size of something in this era. So we have a Primaris Space Marine, plus we also have It's one of the Shadowborn minis, isn't it? Whose name escapes me?
No, he's a regular Stormcast Eternal from our house army.
Yeah, there he is. So this will give you an idea of the kind of scale. We're going pretty large. And we want to go with that kind of over the top. If you grab Goldar, actually, he'll show you, or even our dwarf, whatever one you prefer, because as dwarves go, Durgan's a big boy. You know,
he's a big ball,
isn't he? He's a real movable object. Like he can hold the ground, no problem at all. And so we're giving painters hopefully a lot of opportunity to get in and put a bunch of detail on there and enjoy that slightly larger, a bit more over the top and kind of vibrant scale.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like for Suzhou, the work that Seb has done on those swords, just those big jade blades, is lovely.
And that's it, because he is the Jade Claw. That's his whole background. And so these are some of our, again, early prototype card layouts. So you can see that when you pick a champion, you'll be playing with 3 in a battle. When you pick a champion, each champion comes with 6 cards. 2, at the moment, the way it's currently playtesting, we have 2 yellow, 2 blue, 2 red. So that's Creation yellow, Manipulation blue, Destruction red. And on your turn, you'll have 3 different actions and use 1 of each color. But you'll have 18 cards in your deck, because you'll have 3 different champions, each bringing 6 unique cards to the table. And these cards can synergize together. The champions can work together and kind of line up and obviously trigger effects, buff each other, debuff their enemies, push and pull their opponents around the battlefield. So this particular character, Suzhou, is much about pouncing, getting revenge, equalizing the battlefield, empowering himself and empowering his allies to be able to do real damage. He's very much a noble and kind of true character, and his cards all reflect that, his play style. So when you're playing on the battlefield, if you want to skip back one maybe as well, there will be challenges. So you'll be trying to control areas, you'll be trying to control your enemy deployment, you'll be trying to level up your champions by taking down the opponents, and that's all kind of going to be very tactical, because there's no dice. It's all card driven. It's all very deterministic. So the minimum of luck, and you can even, that card draw, you can even mitigate slightly by kind of planning and preparing cards for future turns. So what we've found with playtesting is 9 times out of 10, the better player, or the player that's able to just take advantage of the hand they have or the situation, is the one that comes out on top. Yeah.
Well, it's also the 2 dynamics of play, because you said you have some of the objectives, the challenges. You can focus on those, but it's still an arena game. You can, if you want to just grind someone into the ground, you can go for it.
Absolutely. And we usually find games come down to 1 or 2 knockouts and then 1 or 2 challenges for you to get the 5 points that you need to come away with to win. And it's very rare that it's all knockout or all challenges. It's normally a mix, which is good.
It's a great game, and it's the first time, I think, it's the first game that we discovered during a
fair. It was Essence Spiel. Yeah.
And it's probably thanks to who first tried the game and said, oh, it was awesome, and every single one of us who tried the game loved it, and we have no choice but to just
the designer,
to make it, to publish it.
The original designer of the game. We'll have a proper video where we delve into this a bit more. But the original designer, Joachim Eisenhuth, is actually a teacher, and he spent 1.5 years of his life developing and fine-tuning Super Fantasy Brawl, to the point where when he brought it to us as a prototype and showed us the game, we were just gobsmacked. We were very, very impressed by the mechanics of the game and the mechanisms, and even the initial art and the plans that he had done. So we've essentially taken his core premise, built on it a little, refined it, obviously brought our own art and sculptors on board, and now we're looking at turning this into, as I kind of really want to state, it's an easy access, fun game for anybody, but also going to have that long-term regular releases. Every month we're going to have new champions coming out, so you're faction-free at retail. So we'll have kits where you can go and play, events around the country, hopefully, where you can go and play as well. So we're looking hopefully hopefully develop a big following with Super Fantasy Brawl. We would like this to be one of our first really long-term, continually supported games that we can get into.
Well, I mean, like, we've played this off camera, and I have to say, it does one thing for me. It tickles my tactical brain.
I thought you were going to say it tickles your tackle.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No, there are some games out there, whenever you play them, there's something in them that just, it gives you that little bit of happiness of, I got you here.
Yeah.
You know, that moment of, if I do this, I got you.
I have solved it. Yeah, that's it.
You know, that pick in the puzzle.
Yeah.
If you skip it, because we were talking about the challenge track, and if you go ahead one more, there we go. So this is very early, very much prototype. There's another little spoiler in this slide as well. This is an idea that, so you have some cases where you have a challenge that you want to have champions adjacent to areas. Sometimes you want to control areas. There'll be other ones that mean you have to level up or kind of do different things on the battlefield, and this will be moving along a track. So you need to try and time and think ahead to meet the challenges whenever they're worth the most victory points. So that's kind of meant to represent the magic in the arena and the crowds kind of getting riled up. So yes, this is something we'll definitely do some games with. We'll definitely get some early ones out there. It's still very early days for this. And this is, I mean, when we talk about us as a company, we're very, very lucky because right now we essentially have a Joan of Arc team, a Solomon Kane team, a Rightbusters team, a Hell team, and a Super Fantasy Brawl team, all working independently, not kind of overlapping. We essentially have game developers who do come and give some playtesting. And
soon,
give some advice,
we'll be completely finished with Joan of Arc, so the developers there can focus and work on another project.
One of the teams.
So we're kind of so lucky and so thankful for the support that we've got that's enabled us to grow, that we can have so many kind of simultaneous projects without overlapping each other, and we're absolutely blessed.
Very cool.
I'm trying to remember if I did put another little one. No, I didn't. I wrapped it up there.
Game over.
Yeah, right. So we will go in and talk about Super Fantasy Brawl a whole lot more. And we did have a bunch of the cards, but we kind of saw them on the screen. So I think that's kind of, I think, where we are these days.
As always, I am always excited by what you guys are doing. You know, I mean, like, you bring out your next game and it's just like, oh my god, this is even better than the last time. You've done it again here. Because I mean, like, I'm super stoked for Reichbusters. It's one that I am dying to lay my greasy little mitts on. Now I've seen Super Fantasy Brawl and it's just like, but why aren't you shiny? Give me.
I mean, we hope this is the kind of game that, you know, you can grab a champion for like maybe £10. You can sit at your local store, go down at like 7 o'clock in the evening, and for 3 hours maybe play a few different rounds and a little like mini fun event.
Yeah,
for
the
you guys.
game plays fast.
The idea is that you should hopefully, once you got the basics of the game, a kind of 45 minute game is kind of where when you got two kind of equally balanced players, that's kind of roughly what you're looking at. And for us, this is going to be something that we want to support forever. At the minute, we're talking about 6 or so champions initially, but as you've seen from that, we have lots of potential stuff coming.
There's so many things you could do with it. You have every fantasy race, every fantasy class. And you could just go to some very strange places with it as well. You know, maybe a wizard accidentally taps into an alternate dimension. Whoops.
Oh, man.
Would we do that?
Of course you would. It's you.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a Super Fantasy Brawl without some tentacles, right?
There has to be at least one monster in there that just looks like a little bit octopusy.
Like the GoldenEye, is he a James Bond villain? That'd be great. Anyway, so I think the big thing for us is come and check out our Facebook page. The Mythic Games Facebook is a great place to be. We have our Discord channel, which is also a great place to be. Our YouTube channel is really booming at the minute, which is awesome. Loads of nice commenters on there. And coming to see you guys is obviously great. So Joan of Arc is going to be delivering soon. So we're looking forward to loads more videos for that, putting out the battle mode, seeing what people do with the scenario generator. Reichbusters, the pledge man will be open for a little while, so if you want to get in on it, it's just going to be open for a very short period. Solomon Kane's pledge manager is open, and it will be open for at least a few months now while we kind of finalise the development.
Does it also allow for late pledges?
It does indeed, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Just for anyone who's wondering, because I'm sure someone out there's going, does it? I could?
Yeah, so it's all on GameOnTabletop.com. It's not on tabletop.com, it's GameOnTabletop.com.
Not affiliated.
No, not affiliated. And then, hopefully, if people are into this new stuff, Super Fantasy Brawl will start to share more as it kind of continues to develop. And with Hell, that's going to be a journey.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm going to be twisting Leo's arm as soon as we're off camera. All right, everybody, tell you what, get your comments in below. What do you think? What are you excited for? Personally, for me, it's Reichbusters and Super Fantasy Brawl that I'm dying for. But get those comments in, we'll move on, and we'll get back to the Weekender. The one thing I take away from that more than anything else is if you jumped in on Solomon Kane, don't worry, the guys are only making it better with the delay that they've thrown onto it. Everything else sounds like it's running absolutely brilliantly. I cannot wait to see what Hell is going to be like. You know, after we finished that, I was twisting Leo's arm and he actually held out and didn't give me anything, so I know nothing more yet.
Right. Okay. Kickstarters.
Yes.
You have a couple of doozies for us this week, Ben. What have you picked?
Cool, yeah. So the first one is Breachstorm Reloaded, which is based on a game that we talked about last week on the show as well. This is a 30mm war game starring sci-fi soldiers set in their own unique world. You choose your sort of army, well, your war band, effectively your squad of 6 to 8 elite special operatives, and you tool them up to get stuck into some really cool asymmetrical style narrative scenarios on the tabletop. The new Kickstarter that they're working on focuses around the idea of a 2-player starter set, which you can actually win as part of the show today as well, which is really cool. But as well as that, they're looking towards a new faction for the game as well, which is the Volucrid Host. So this is a new faction that's been added into the mix, which stands away a little bit from the idea of soldiers in armor, and instead introduces this weird insectoid style force into the mix as well. It looks very cool. I love the idea of squad-based combat on a small scale, really nice type-packed combat and all that kind of thing. And if you're interested in this one, make sure to check it out. Yeah. So.
You two guys got a game of this.
We did. Myself and Jerry actually played with the 2-player starter set. I took out the feline forces. Jerry took on the humans. One thing I noticed, which is quite different to most other war games I've played, is the way your actual shooting works, your attacking. So you will roll a number of dice, right? Looking for your success. You're adding up all the totals on your dice, but you're only doing your top 3. So your cover will drop off your top dice, and if you're rolling, say, 4 dice, you'll use the bottom 3 then to add up to the total trying to beat the evasion of your opponent, which I found was a very interesting system to actually work out how much damage you were doing. And depending on how much you beat their evasion by, determined you had like multipliers on there where you could do more damage if you really hit them hard.
Have we got a gameplay video or something of this due to come out? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's
one filmed. I don't know if it's out yet.
It's not out yet. Might be out shortly. It might be out today, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a first turn, so a look at the turn playthrough.
Turn breakdown, yeah.
So turn breakdown for the basic game, but what we were playing was just the basic game, which was just the 2 starter factions. But there's a lot more build and layers on top of it, because you can start to customize your I'm not going to say squads, every figure is individual. So you're not moving 3 riflemen together. Every rifleman activates individually, and there's customization in there. Even in the squad support weapons, they can have different ammo types and that sort of thing. So you've got this, plus you can also get tactical assets that we didn't play. There's so much more that you can layer on top once you've actually learned the base game to start getting.
It sounds pretty meaty, actually, in that sense.
That's why it's such a small. You're only playing on a 3x3 table, and it's about your squad build and the objectives that you're looking to complete, because all the scenarios are all very tailored. The idea is special forces going in. It's not go in and shoot them in the face because they're there. It's go in and do this mission, and how can I do that with this small group of people the best way. So there's no, in a lot of games, a lot of skirmish games, you'll be going, here's my leader, he's great, and then here's my dungers that I'm just using as meat shields.
Yeah.
You don't have that option here. In many respects, the leaders buff and will contribute to what your basic troopers will do. So, for example,
more command and control.
For example, the Commonwealth, or not Commonwealth, they're not the Human Worlds Confederacy that I was playing. Their leader has a special ability where everybody he hits when he fires gets a fire for effect marker on them.
Yeah.
And then anybody else who shoots at that gets a bonus dice. So he activates first and tags multiple, because he can fire multiple times, and then he gets people to activate to pour on more suppressing fire. So if you lose your leader, apart from the fact that you're now detrimentally affected because you've got less command on the table, they also lose that fire bonus, which is what it's based around.
The effects of it start to ripple out,
Also, everybody can activate individually. And so you're passing back and forward one troop at a time, but you could blow a lot of your activations early on by getting your leaders to activate multiple players. So he can go, I'll activate, and then I'll also activate him, and if they activate off him, they get bonus actions.
Yeah.
So you can go, oh, well, I'll just activate everybody right as soon as I can to get the bonus activations in. But then it means your turn's finished.
And you're stuck.
And your opponent can then start pushing his activations around
you. You can no longer, so although you could get a big heavy plan executed,
Yes.
you no longer have the flexibility to react
Exactly.
to an evolving situation.
But if you sit back to
Yeah.
react, then you're not going to have as many actions than if you had
you
followed
go
your
full
your,
on.
your sergeant or your fire team leader's orders early on. So
Oh, that's interesting.
Another
So there's
interesting
not
part
one.
of it is that your commanders actually activate first
Yeah.
in the round, and anyone you haven't ordered with them will activate after that.
Yeah.
So it's showing that the troopers, if they're not given orders, they're slower to react, even though they will still get to.
it's
Nice.
Quite
nice.
interesting.
12 days left to go on that, guys. So if you're interested in it, it sounds like a very, very interesting game. Might be worth jumping in on to try it out. Yeah, so Breachstorm Reloaded.
on that note, if you are interested in it, the rules are in beta, and the rules are all available along with all the unit cards and
Also,
card cards.
print and play.
Print and play, so you can
There you
go,
go.
you can go
Before you
download it, have a look at it, and see if you're keen on it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That might be one you want to print out, take it down to the club. You and a couple other folk can have a go at that. Right, next up we have Rune Runners by Gangfight Games.
Yeah, so this is a game set in the year of 1921 in an alternate reality where the Congress of the United Realms has passed a law banning the use of destructive magics. And so bounties have been placed on a whole bunch of magical artifacts. This, of course, means that you, as players, are going to be taking on the role of a whole bunch of miscreants and ne'er-do-wells who are stalking through the city trying to acquire loot and magical artifacts and run off with them. So this is a board game from the guys at Gangfight Games where you pick a team of sort of adventurers and looters that are running through this modular style board, looking for loot, stealing it, beating each other up to try and steal it back from them, and then getting off the board before everything goes to hell. The game comes with 11 plastic miniatures, which they've already designed up, and we've seen previews of over the last couple of months and so. And as I said, it has this really cool aspect with the modular tiles. So the game has this really nice sort of like everlasting complexity feel to it as well. The other cool thing about it is that heroes are picked randomly as you start to build your gangs. So every time you sit down to play it, you can't just choose the one that you like the best. You're always going to have to try and come up with plans to try and make things work as well. It's a little tiny Kickstarter. It's got about 22 days left on it so far. The guys at Gangfight Games have put together a sort of like run through of how the rules work over on their website, so you can click through and try and find that. We'll make sure to have a link down below for that as well. And they are also working on a gameplay video at the same time. So there should be a gameplay video coming out for it at the same time.
Fantastic.
This looks like a lot of fun.
I'm
Does he scuff
a
walls over with
real
that?
sucker for the Art Deco. I'm such a. I have a love for the Nero Wolfe mysteries
Oh, stunning show.
by Mari Chuckin and Tim. I can't remember the other guy's name, but that is probably my favorite piece of TV ever made. If I'm being honest,
Not only Fools and Horses?
This is in a class of its own.
Right.
It's so good. They did a series of a couple of dozen of them. Okay. And you have Nero Wolfe and Archie Goodwin.
Archie,
And,
yeah.
So you have a few key people that are played by the same actors all the time. But then what you have is this like a group of players.
Yeah.
This group of actors in that through every episode play different characters.
I remember you telling us this.
And it's just amazing. But that captured that Art Deco feel for me so wonderfully. And so anytime I see something where they've got a bit of Art Deco panache into the thing, I just immediately start to melt. I love this. I love the mashup of the Art Deco and the fantasy tropes.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool, and I think it could be again, I'm always looking for kind of like themey kind of game nights. You know, so immediately, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm weird, but whenever I look at that, I immediately start thinking of the accompanying alcohol that you would have to theme a night like that.
I would say
For this, clearly it's an old-fashioned.
Oh,
yeah.
it's
Oh, that'll be whiskey.
well, yeah, like a whiskey or
Bourbons?
or a port. A port would go down kind of nice. All I want to do is just to sit at the end of the table and go, "No sandwiches for the police." It's all in jokes now, but you know, if you can imagine a night where you've got some of the fine foods,
I think game night could be fun.
Everybody wearing zoot suits. I do like how they haven't taken the usual one where in some of the other fantasy historic mashups, things like Flintlock many moons ago, where you had all the elves were French, all the British were orcs, and it was Napoleonics, but it was very divided race and race. that's all intermixed. So it doesn't matter whether you're playing a rune runner or a cop.
Yeah.
The chances of being a goblin or a dwarf or an ogre or whatever it happens to be are all mixed.
Yeah.
So it's not just these are the bad and these are the good guys.
Yeah.
It's it's,
they all live
it's,
together.
Yeah, it's just
I like that.
communal thing. So
well, look, 22 days left. Go and check it out. I think it's lovely. I think the minis are great. I love that Art Deco style.
Just want to go and watch Casablanca again now.
Yeah, it's very cool stuff. Guys, look, thank you so much. Right, so last week we were giving away the Head Knights of Slaanesh Battle Tome and the Keeper of Secrets. The winner for that should have been selected. So if you go across to the OnTableTop Prize Center, you can see the winner for that and any previous prizes that we have done within the last 30 days are listed there. Remember, this week, with a comment, a subscribe, a like, and a dinging of my dong, you could be in with a chance of winning the Breachstorm Two-Player Starter Set pledge level. Massive thank you to Jerry, to Justin, and to Ben. Tune in tomorrow for my favorite show, the Weekender XLBS, because we're gonna lay back, relax, and talk some deep hobby. I've got some cool updates. I'm looking forward to that, and I think we're going to become a cult. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.